You're looking live at downtown Göteborg, Sweden, a city of some 800,000. And this afternoon in the United States, evening time here in Scandinavia, a crowd in excess of 40,000 is gathered at Ullevi Stadium. Ullevi stands for the Viking god of sport from the olden days. And for the first time ever, football, American style, has come to the continent of Europe. There have been a variety of games played in England in recent years, and it's in large part because of the success of those games that we have brought football to you back in the States by way of Scandinavia. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and Välkommen till Göteborg, Sverige, as we Swedes would say, or welcome to Gothenburg, Sweden, as we Americans could say. It's a pleasure to be here, and you might ask, why are we in Scandinavia? And as I just mentioned, it's been a tremendous evolvement of interest in the sport of football in America that has caused the NFL to toy with the idea of coming here. Once they decided on Scandinavia, what better two teams to bring here than the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings, because, of course, of the huge Scandinavian populations in both of those geographical areas. I'm thrilled to be joined again by Terry Bradshaw, the former Steeler quarterback and my partner for the year. Terry is making his first visit ever abroad. And Terry, this is exciting for all of us, but regardless of how exciting it might be, I would think for the teams it's a terrific distraction.
Welcome. Yeah, it is a distraction. I believe, Vern, any time to get on a plane and travel 7 hours non-stop to a strange land, it has to be a distraction. The Vikings and the Bears traveled here. They came in here. They left temperatures in excess of 100 degrees back in the States. They came over here. They left back 2-a-day practices. They're only practicing once a day here. And they have no curfew. And they have their wives with them, sleeping with them. I think that's a distraction.
I would consider that as such, and they've been various trips around the city for them. You know, both of these teams are here, and they're co-favorites, I would think, for the division championship this year. Only 20 days until the season starts officially, and both teams have some problems.
Well, they do have problems. Mike Ditka, the coach of the Bears, told us that the Bears are in a transition. He said we've lost people through the trades. We've lost them through retirement. We've lost them through the free agency market, and we've lost our tackles, starting our offensive tackles, to injuries. But the one good thing, Vern, has been the play of McMahon he has made every day at training camp.
Minnesota Vikings have problems of a little bit of a different sort. They've got guys who want more money. That's not unusual.
Yes, they do. They have contract problems with 4 of their starters. But they also have the real key for the Vikings, Vern, is they have a sure enough all-to-goodness quarterback controversy in Minnesota. And the Vikings are looking at Kramer, and they're looking at Wade Wilson, one of them to step to the front. This game today might get one of those guys a starting job.
Some of those questions we hope to see answered today. In the meantime, we have been joined by Irv Cross of our NFL Today staff. He is somewhere on the far side at Ullevi Stadium. Irv?
You know, Vern, I've been to a lot of stadiums. I've never experienced anything like this. This stadium holds about 52,000 people, and right off the bat, you realize that on one side of the field, almost half the crowd is sitting down, and on this side where I am, they all stand up. Now, this young man I'll be talking to in a minute, who's a local sports fan, paid about $20 for a standing only position. On the other side of the field, you pay about $40. But why would somebody pay $20 to come and stand and see a sporting event?
Well, I haven't seen it live, American football, and much for the show, to see the show.
How much do you know about American football?
Not that much. I know about you have 4 downs to move forward 10 yards and get 6 points in the end zone. And
that sounds pretty good to me. You know, Vern, in Sweden, you don't have to have a sellout to have standing room only.
Go find a seat, Irv, and we'll see you a little bit later on in the telecast. Now, down on the field, the captains for both the Bears and the Vikings. There is Scott Studwell, Jim McMahon, Tommy Kramer, Walker Lee Ashley, Leo Lewis of the Minnesota Vikings. And the coin toss will feature Jerry Seaman, the referee of the officiating crew today, the U.S. Ambassador to Sweden, Gregory Newell, and the Chairman and CEO of Volvo, Pierre J. Ulehammer.
Flip the coin. Please call it while it is in the air. Heads is called. It is tails. Minnesota's won the toss. Minnesota, you want to move this way, please? Minnesota has won the toss and will receive best of luck.
And overhead, the Swedish Air Force with a flyover. overcast skies, as you can see in the background. Temperature is about 60 degrees as we approach 10 minutes after 7 Swedish time. 60 degrees, 74% humidity, winds out of the east at 10 miles per hour and mostly cloudy. It has been that way for the last 4 days. The Minnesota Viking cheerleaders are here. The Hibbing, Minnesota High School band is here. And they have officially announced a sellout. Now, they consider a sellout in this 52,000-seat stadium as 40,000 because that takes care of all the seats. By the way, Irv was telling you about the standing room only. The official configuration has 31,000 standing room places and 21,000 seats. Welcome to Sweden.
Welcome.
Chicago will kick off. Kevin Butler. And for the Minnesota Vikings, Darrell Harris and Charles Wilson are the deep men. That's Harris on the right and Wilson on the left-hand side. Both are rookies. Harris a free agent. So also is Charles Wilson. Bears are 1-0 in preseason. They nipped Miami last week. The Vikings are 0-1. They lost in the last-second Morton Anderson field goal to the New Orleans Saints. And we are underway. The first time a ball has been kicked off in anger in American football on the continent. Swedes roar. Darrell Harris has it for Minnesota. And there was the first block that's going to get these Scandinavians aroused as to what football is all about. Here comes Tommy Kramer. 23-yard return. Kramer gets the start. Will go about a quarter and a half. And for the Chicago Bears defensively, they'll line up with Sean Smith, placing Al Harris at left end, McMichael, Hampton, and Richard Dent, the linebackers. Will be Ron Rivera taking over Marshall's place, Mike Singletary and Otis Wilson, and the secondary we'll get to in just a second. First down and 10, Minnesota, after a 23-yard return. Kramer can't find anybody open and dances out to the right-hand side. And Kramer's out of bounds after a gain of some 7 or 8 yards near the 32-yard line. Defensive secondary for the Bears. Will include Mike Richardson, Vesty Jackson, Dave Dorson, and Sean Gale. The big absence there, of course, is Gary Fensick, who was retired. Second down and 3. Leo Lewis in motion. Pitch out, left side, Rick Finney, the fullback. First down, Minnesota. Out near the 38-yard line. Viking offense has Tommy Kramer at quarterback. As we said, he'll go a quarter and a half. And for Jerry Burns up front.
You'll see a lot of Finney today, 31. Big fullback. Vikings, Vern, come in and alternate their plays with their fullbacks. So you'll see Anderson, 46 in. He'll bring a play in, and then Finney will bring a play in.
First and 10, Minnesota. Split backs, 2 wide receivers right side. D.J. Dozier gets the handoff and is across the 40 near the 43. Mike Singletary makes the tackle. Now the lineup for Minnesota: Kramer, Alfred Anderson, D.J. Dozier in the backfield. Anthony Carter and Leo Lewis will play about a quarter tonight. And the offensive line, this is where they really have problems right now. Holdouts: Gary Zimmerman, Kirk Loudermilk, McQuaid, Huffman, Foote, Taust. Burton is starting for an injured Tim Irwin. And Steve Jordan is the tight end. Second and 5, pitch to Dozier. And the second-year man from Penn State rips forward for another Minnesota first down to the 50-yard line.
You see a lot of that. They like to get Dozier deep in the eye. It's the same formation he ran at Penn State. Turn around, pitch him the football, let him use his eyes and his quick feet, cut off tackle, cut back up the middle. Wherever he sees the hole, he has the option to run to it.
Jerry Burns was telling us he thought Dozier got off to an explosive start in '87, but then once the strike came and those 3 games were played in which the veterans did not take part, he didn't come back as sharp. First and 10. Minnesota on the march at the midfield stripe. Dozier cuts back inside, is hit and dropped. It was Dan Hampton who made the initial contact, and then Richard Dent who completed the tackle.
I know if I were playing football against the Bears, I'd want to have 2 backs in there. You notice that the The really good running has been with two backs in the backfield, not one. That time there was only one back in the backfield, and I don't think that's the way to run against the Bears. They're just too strong up front.
Second down and 10 officially.
50-yard line. They're bump and run. Hey, let it rip. Throw it deep.
Yeah, what are the Bears doing defensively now? Up on the line. Now they drop back. Kramer flips it out in the wing. Dozier tries to turn the corner and can't. Sean Gale, the 5-year man out of Ohio State, number 23. Nice defensive play.
Coming up inside that time, Vern, you saw the Bears fake the blitz, and then come with the blitz, and then the responsibility of the free safety, Gale, was to come over and take the back. And the Bears had the perfect defense against exactly what the Vikings thought was going to be, going to be a great play.
That brings up a 3rd and 10. Maurice Douglas and Reggie Phillips have come in now. 6 defensive backs for Chicago on 3rd and 10. Kramer straight drop back up in the pocket, lobs it deep down the middle. Nice catch. Dandy play to the 25-yard line. Leo Lewis makes the grab. Maurice Douglas to tackle, a gain of 25 yards.
Ideal matchup, Eli. You got a fast receiver being covered by a cornerback. Kramer setting back in the pocket to get a little bit of pressure, but he does what he's supposed to. Steps up, then he finds his man right down the middle. As you can see, 50, that's 48 I thought was on him, Phillips, but it wasn't.
1st and 10, Minnesota at the 26-yard line. As we come to you live from Gothenburg, Sweden. Again, Kramer with a straight drop back, goes deep left side. Receiver makes the grab. Steve Jordan, 1st and goal, Vikings. Ditko looks on, and Jordan has given the Vikings a 1st down and goal, and Kramer looks sharp early.
Oh, he looks sharp. The thing they like to do, the Vikings, they love to throw to their backs, and they love to throw their tight end. This is a simple down and to the corner route run by the tight end that time. Jordan, Kramer sees it, gets the ball right in before 23, that is. Look at Gale come inside there, but then Jackson came off his man, but a little seam there. Kramer got him the football.
1st and goal, Minnesota.
I used to run that pass all the time. It's a pull out with a takeoff, and that time Jackson, excellent job of coming back in.
Testing the middle. No touchdown. DJ Dozier at right guard. David Huffman is back in the lineup, just signed a contract about a week ago.
One of the problems in '87 that the Vikings had was 76 times they had the ball inside the 5-yard line. They were successful less than 30% of those times. And this year in training camp, the one thing they've done different in all the years of practicing in training camp is they have run every day a short yardage goal line offense, and they've already had 3 goal line scrimmages. They're disappointed that they're inside the 5-yard goal line offense.
Bob Schnelker, the offensive coordinator, said it's the one pressing need they have. And Alfred Anderson is knocked down short.
Now they've run 2 running plays, a little counter trap inside, a little sweep to the outside, and they've gained nothing out of it. But the personality of the Vikings, and let's don't lose sight of the fact we got a preseason game here, but the personality is, right, I'll show you this, but I'm going to play action during the regular season.
Of course, he went over Dan McQuaid's spot at left tackle then too, Terry, and that's where Gary Zimmerman is holding out, and they're also missing Kirk Loudermilk, the starting center. So the offensive line is weakened by the holdouts right now.
Right, and they might be trying to send a message to Zimmerman. Look how good Quaid is.
Somehow, I think not. Is it good? Yes, touchdown. Minnesota gets the 1st touchdown in Sweden. DJ Dozier, right guard this time. And the Vikings are on the board. With 8 minutes and 56 seconds remaining first quarter, Minnesota drives in excess of 70 yards for the first PD.
Hey, Dozier's got to be happy. One of these days, he'll be able to tell his kids, hey, guess who scored the first touchdown in Sweden? Huh? Think they'll remember?
No.
I don't either.
No, I don't think 25 years from now his kids are going to care much. Chuck Nelson on for the extra point. Notice how the Swedes react to an extra point. They love it every time the ball is in the air. That comes from the soccer background. 74 yards, 11 plays for the Vikings. Dozier's down to the 9th.
Porsche 944. The Volvo 740 Turbo Wagon. To you, they're two completely different cars. But to a radar gun, they look exactly alike.
Come on along and head for...
Just under 9 minutes remaining first quarter as Vikings go on top 7-0 over the Chicago Bears, and the Bears about to touch the offense for the first time. That drive went to 74 yards in 11 plays, 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Dozier got the touchdown on third down after the big pass to the tight end Steve Jordan. Eric Starr and Lemuel Stinson are the deep men now for the Chicago Bears. Here's Chuck Nelson's kick. Short. And Stinson will let it bounce. It goes out of bounds. Delay of game. And the ball out of bounds at the 23-yard line.
With the ball in play, 35-yard line, first down.
Jim McMahon comes on the field for the first time. Defensively for the Vikings, as you look at Carl Lee, the 11 lineup up front. Al Noga, the rookie, third-round pick out of the University of Hawaii at left end, and we'll get the others in just a moment. First down from the 35, Chicago. Matt Suey and Neil Anderson open in the backfield behind Jim McMahon, two wide receivers wide right. This is Dennis McKinnon in motion, then he goes back. And McMahon back to throw. Screen pass, right side. Suey. Out to the 39-yard line, and Al Noga, number 99, makes the tackle. Suey gets up, looks at his finger. Minnesota's defensive line, Al Noga, Henry Thomas, Keith Millard, and Chris Dolman. And the linebackers, David Howard, Scott Studwell, and Jesse Solomon, who was a sensation last year in his first 4 years as a starter. Backfield, Isaac Holt, Carl Lee, Joey Browner, and the veteran John Harris. Jay Hilgenberg over the ball, 8-year man out of Iowa, fresh from another Pro Bowl appearance. Quick pitch. Neil Anderson darts up near the 44-yard line. That'll be shy of the first down by a couple of feet. David Howard, number 51, makes the tackle. McMahon at quarterback for the Bears. And offensively, they're hurting in the line. They've got Anderson, Suey in the backfield, McKinnon, and Gentry at wide receivers. Of course, Willie Gall traded for the Raiders. John Wojciechowski gets the start at left tackle. Boyd Stogenberg and Thayer, familiar names. And a 7th-round draft choice, Cesar Renty at right tackle because of injuries. And the tight end, Emery Moorhead.
Be interesting to watch Cesar Renty. It's out of Oklahoma, and I think they probably only dropped back about 3 times in his entire career there.
Third and short. Suey. Little extra effort across the 50 near the 49.
One thing you have to learn, Vern, don't ever challenge an old veteran and tell him, you know, we're bringing in Brad Muster, our #1 draft choice, and we think he's going to be our fullback, and we don't really know if we have a place for you. And Suey right now is looking like, you know, he's a 4-year veteran.
Last year, an off year for Suey with only 7 carries for 28 yards, for 24 yards for the full season. Last week, he had 1 carry for 19 yards, and as Terry said, he's in a battle with not only Muster, but Galvin Thomas for a spot on the roster. First down, 10, Chicago. Neil Anderson goes right, cuts back left, and runs into a linebacker. The 47-yard line, the defensive end, rather, Chris Dolman, 4-year man out of Pittsburgh, who was a Pro Bowl. It's eerie, isn't it, how quiet it gets in between plays because people are trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, they don't understand. They're used to seeing soccer played on this field, and anytime it's kicked, they go crazy. But anytime you hand it off, they don't really understand. Hey, I made the comment to you before the game, so I wonder what they'll do when they see all this contact.
Well, then we had that wild block in the opening kickoff, and you heard some intake of breath collectively. But there are quiet moments at the oddest times. Here's McMahon back. Anderson. That's going to be short of the first down, but it is to the 40-yard line. It's Dennis McKinnon who makes the grab. Carl Lee and Scott Studwell with the tackle.
McKinnon coming in this year for training camp in the best shape he's ever been. He went down from Florida and ran at night dodging trees. I don't know how that's supposed to help you, but he came in dodging trees, and they said he's in the best shape he's ever been. They got the whole team now dodging trees at training camp. But he's a guy that's coming in. Willie Gault's out of here. He's at the Raiders, and now it's McKinnon and Gentry, your starters.
And Ron Morris, too, is a part of that triumvirate. Walker Lee Ashley replaces Studwell on 3rd and short defensively for Minnesota. Split backs. Suey starts right, comes left. Nice move. Oh, don't bury me yet. And Walker Lee Ashley makes the stop, but Suey picks up 15 and a grin.
Great running backs should have great vision. They ought to be able to see well. Notice Solomon, 54. Now he'll crash down inside. Suey sees it, and then he hops outside. That play is an option. He can go inside the guards, pulling block, or he can go outside. That time he saw Solomon blitzing, poof, back to the outside.
Chicago answering with a nice drive of its own now. We've got 5:11 to go in the first quarter. Minnesota leads 7-0 on a 74-yard drive to open the game. Bears have a 1st and 10. McMahon at quarterback. McMahon a quick 2 of 2. See if he's throwing on first down. Nope. Flag. And here is Jerry Seaman.
False start prior to the snap. Number 62 offense. Still first down.
That's Mark Bortz. That's a view from overhead. Ullevi Stadium, downtown Gothenburg, Sweden. As we said at the opening of the program, a city on the western side of Sweden, just across the sea from Denmark. And there are quite a few Viking and Bear fans. They've done a wonderful job of promoting this game throughout Scandinavia, but particularly here in Gothenburg. And it has an air of a very festive occasion for the Swedes. Left side, Suey again. Oh, what an opening. And then he's cut down at the 23-yard line by Walker Lee Ashley.
They're running that little counter option where McMahon pulls out, pivots to his right, then hands to the deep back, pull the guard out. And it's an option they ran earlier when Solomon crashed inside. That time inside, back to the outside again by Suey.
Matt Suey, early leader offensively for the Bears. Now in his 9th year out of Penn State. He's the number 2 draft choice. Time comes, you start fighting for a spot on the roster, and you look very impressive early on. 2nd and 9.
That gray hair kind of scares the coaches.
That's right. McMahon, jump pass. Emery Moorhead, the tight end. And Jesse Solomon, number 54, made the stop for Minnesota.
I always liked playing in preseason games, especially when I knew that I was a starting quarterback and there was no pressure on me. You throw the little jump pass, even though it's for a 2-yard gain. You do the little jump pass, you do the little sprint out and dive and throw it out of bounds. All those little fancy things that you do them now because you're not going to do them later. There's McMahon. There's the little jump pass. He's got the rotator cuff. It's in good shape now. So you do a little jump pass, sends a message back home, tells everybody I'm in great shape.
Jay Hilgenberg was telling us the other day that the best thing about training camp is that McMahon has been at every practice this summer.
Right, and who did he go to and ask?
3rd down and 4. Anderson. Bortz with a block. Touchdown, Chicago. yards. Neil Anderson, successor to Walter Payton.
Two great blocks. One will be by Bort, 62, the left guard pulling, the other one by 87, Moorhead. Now 62, Bort's out front. Anderson gets in behind him, says, which way you go, I go the opposite way. Great block by, downfield block by Bortz, allowing Anderson to get in for the touchdown.
Kevin Butler to kick. Mike Tomczak, the backup quarterback, is on the hold. The Bears can even it up, which they do. And again, the crowd roars its approval, an extra point. 3:34 to go, first quarter from Ullevi Stadium, Gothenburg, Sweden. We're notched 7-7.
To be a success, you must be daring.
And the Vikings playing in Gothenburg, Sweden. 3:34 to go first quarter. Each team has had the ball on one occasion. Chicago drove it 74 yards in 11 plays. The Bears countered with a 65-yard in 9 plays. And though the lights are on, darkness will not settle in here in Sweden for more than a couple of hours. Even here in August, it won't get dark until about 9:30, 9:45. And it's now 7:30 in Scandinavia.
My wife was telling me that the sun goes down only for 2 hours. I was scared to death when I came over. How in the world how am I going to sleep with only 2 hours of no sun?
You managed, though, right?
Yeah, a jet lag managed for me, I believe.
That's right. Here's Butler. Harris, Wilson, and Trulove are the deep man. This is Darrell Harris, the rookie from Arizona State. Out of bounds up here at the 32. Now let's go down to Irv Cross. Irv?
Well, Vern, one of the unique features of the stadium is this 10-foot-high stockade fence that encircles the entire stadium. Many of you have heard about rioting and soccer matches around the world, and they've never had a problem here at this stadium, but the European Soccer Federation has mandated that if you're going to have World Cup competition in the stadium, these fences must be installed. Now, take a look here. You can see these youngsters have taken advantage of these fences by climbing up here to see American football NFL style from perhaps the best spot in the house.
All right, Irv, 1st and 10, Minnesota. Kramer, left side. Diving catch made by Anthony Carter. And Bestie Jackson makes the tackle. There's Bortz there. Chicago offensive line. Rick Penny brings the play in now for...
See the back of Bortz's head the other day. He was coming out and he was sitting there with a comb and he was combing his hair. And I stood right there about a foot from him and started laughing at him. And I didn't have to say another word. He knew I was asking him why.
That looks familiar, Terry.
It does look familiar.
Doesn't it? To both of us, unfortunately.
Yes, welcome.
2nd down and 4. Dozier comes right. Mike Richardson makes the first contact for Chicago, and then Sean Smith, number 97, comes up to complete the task.
Sean Smith left in for the Bears, did a good job that time. He got knocked off his feet. He got caught inside. Play was going outside. He got up and with great hustle was able to get in and get a second shot and make the stop.
That will bring up a 3rd down. And an official need of 3. Tommy Kramer, pinched nerve in the neck in exhibition against New England last summer, and it just about shot the entire season for him. 3rd and 4 officially now. So he is in a competition with Wade Wilson, who will also play today. Here's Dozier. They'll have to punt. Dave Duerson makes the tackle, number 22.
Now, you were talking about Kramer with that neck problem, and he stayed and worked on those neck muscles and built them up and got that nerve, healthy. And now the coaches are wanting him to get that neck brace off. He's got that neck brace on there to protect him. Notice that big hump in his shoulder there? Well, or on his back, that's to keep his head from going back and popping that nerve. They're saying, hey, you're fine. Get rid of that thing. You don't need it. But Tommy says, no way, not right now.
Here's a veteran who's fighting for a spot on the roster, Greg Coleman, 12-year man in the NFL. Coaches are a little afraid he may have lost a snap in his leg. He'll kick it deep to a rookie, Wendell Davis. That's a relatively short kick. Davis from LSU has it, and he's immediately knocked down. Nice downfield tackle by Rick Penny. 35-yard punt, 1 on the return, and 1:47 remaining. In the first quarter from Gothenburg, Sweden, we're tied 7-7. 1:47 to go first quarter. Chicago, Minnesota tied 7-7. This is the Bears' second offensive set. Well, it may be American football here, but there's some on the sidelines who refuse to give up on their favorite sport.
I think they hired him. I think that's entertaining the few soccer fans that are right in there behind him. They've been doing that for about 4 hours. He's got to be tired.
He could probably do it for another 4. Here's a pitch. Calvin Thomas has come in at fullback now. And Thomas gets it out to the 27-yard line. We were talking about Jay Hilgenberg, the center, the all-pro. Hilgenberg, we gave him a ride back to the hotel the other day, and he said, hey, guys, do you know how long McMahon's going to play in this game? And I said, no, why? He said, because I've only got to play as long as McMahon is going to play. So for veterans, this is not exactly a fun trip.
My line used to come to me the night of every preseason game and gather up around me, and they'd say, hey, Bub, how long are you going to play? I said, I got to go 3 quarters tonight. I really need to work. And they would go crazy.
Yes.
Of course, I'd play a quarter.
2nd down and 9. Anderson out of the backfield. McMahon back to throw. Face of the rush. First sack of the day. Millard's going to claim credit for it. McMahon slipped slightly, but he was in Millard's grasp anyway. Millard, according to the coaching staff, particularly Floyd Peters, is a fella who seems to have matured in the last year or so.
He'll come from the right side, the new matured Millard. 75 coming in, beats his man. Gets down inside, actually beat the right guard Thayer. They say one of the things that has helped Millard is the fact he's married. He's got a young son, Dustin, who was born in January, and they think he's going to become a solid citizen. I doubt it.
Ah, come on.
All right.
Defensively now for Minnesota, 6 defensive backs. Henderson and Rutland have joined the defensive lineup. Shotgun formation. 3rd and 16. The handoff to Anderson. Sweep to the left. And it'll be 4th and a long, long ways. Carl Lee made the tackle.
It's one of those plays that you show in preseason against a team you're going to play later on, and they'll have to go back when they're getting ready to play in the regular season and look at this reverse. The Bears have no intentions of using it, of course, but they show it now to force the Vikings to have to work on it.
Brian Wagner is on to punt for Chicago for the first time. And the deep man is Greg Richardson out of Alabama for Minnesota. 4th and 11. And time has expired in quarter number 1. Chicago 7. Minnesota 7. Wir straks tillbaka.
Americans buy lots of imported cars. Isn't it nice to know that Napa has the parts right here when you need them? Don't miss the boat on parts for imports. Come to Napa.
Up here, you catch them with experience. And when you've got them where you want them, you head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Busch.
How are those horses doing? What horses?
Head for the mountains of Busch beer.
Hey, even us tough guys like a little extra comfort underneath. That's why I switched from ordinary underwear to Hanes. Now I'm just a great big teddy bear. Right, guys?
It's not just underwear. It's Hanes.
Right, guys?
Right, Coach.
There's a town where the assembly line mentality does not exist. Where craftsmanship is revered. Where precision is a way of life. A town where the largest occupation is that of car maker. The town is Kalmar, Sweden. The only place in the world where this car could be built. The new Volvo 760.
Not a full house, but a good-sized crowd. Better than 40,000 on hand in Gothenburg, Sweden. Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw as we begin quarter number 2. Brian Wagner back to kick for the Bears and Greg Richardson to return. There's Wagner. He's kind of knocked around the NFL and was with Chicago for most of last year. Had tryouts with a variety of teams, Dallas and Denver among them. And in the battle with Tommy Barnhart now. And there's the rookie, or the second-year man, Greg Richardson. That's a good kick. 27-yard line, Richardson left side. Flag is down. And Richardson is as well at the 40-yard line. 48-yard punt for Wagner and 12 on the return, but let's see about the infraction. I wonder if Jerry Seaman can explain the illegal block to the Swedes.
I think he's doing a pretty good job. They've got a little communication worked out. You know, they actually practiced a game with everyone.
Illegal block during the return. Number 94 receiving team. First down.
You know, they came out here and set up a game-type situation, got everyone here, and then came out and went through a game and all these calls and make sure that everyone, you know, that they understood what he was saying.
Time has been called on the field. We'll be right back.
CBS Sports Sunday is sponsored by Volvo, the car you can believe in, and by your local Volvo dealers. Prudential Bates Securities, rock solid, market wise. And by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you.
First down and 10. Minnesota has the ball for the third time in the ball game. Ball game tied at 7-7. Touchdowns for both teams on the first possession. 74-yard drive for the Vikings and 64-yard drive for Chicago. I formation. Kramer is still in at quarterback. Tommy is 4 out of 4 for 55 yards. The big one, a toss to Jordan, set up the TD. Alan Rice, the 5-year man from Baylor, number 36, is in. Dan Hampton makes the tackle defensively for the Bears. Jim Morrissey, number 51, one of 2 new linebackers in for Chicago. They have made substitutions now at the quarter mark. Rice is in offensively for Minnesota, and for Chicago, Will Johnson and Jim Morrissey have joined Mike Singletary as the linebackers. Dan Hampton, as you can see, number 99, still in, so also is Richard Dent. Comes the blitz. Jim Morrissey from the right side. Morrissey, the special teams captain of the Chicago Bears.
Really is nothing fancy here. You'll see Morrissey, top right of your screen. He goes to the outside. Singletary right up the center, 50. He blitzes up the middle. No one picks him up. Back's supposed to stay in there and pick up Morrissey from the outside. No one did. Therefore, he gets the sack.
Hassan Jones in at a wide receiver, the third wide receiver now for Minnesota on 3rd and 15. From the shotgun, high snap, and Kramer has to scramble. Lobs it deep. Anthony Carter. First down on 3rd and 15. They get 18 and a first down at the 39-yard line before Reggie Phillips makes the tackle.
It's a known fact against a football team that rushes a quarterback up the field. Important thing is for a quarterback to step up inside. When he did that, he allowed this man, 81, enough time to go across the middle. There's Carter. He gets into the area, slows down, gives a big target for Kramer, and Kramer did an excellent job of stepping up and then firing the football on the move.
Anthony had 2 big catches last week in the first game and makes his first big catch. He's got 2 in this game now. Kramer, 5 of 5 for 75 yards. Leo Lewis in motion. Rice hauled down from behind as he crosses the 40. Tommy Kramer, as we said, pinched a nerve at his neck in preseason last year, and it really just sent the season down the tubes. In '86, he had a marvelous year, 56%, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 10 INTs. And look at the comparison, Terry, with last year.
Well, if you don't play, if you don't play, obviously you can't have the numbers. The thing he has, and they keep telling us all week, the guy's got charisma, and that's what we want in our quarterback.
Cam Carter, a little bit behind him. And that is the first incomplete pass for Tommy Kramer. I get a sense that if things are even statistically when it comes to September 4th, that Kramer might get the nod over Wade Wilson. Now, we have not been told that, but it's just a sense you get.
Well, it's a feeling you get when you talk to the coaches, that when they speak of Kramer, the word is charisma. And when they talk about Wilson, they say he's got to win the job, he's got to want the job. And they don't believe he does. And Kramer handles all the situations well emotionally, and the players respond to him.
Here's Kramer back, across the middle, incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Diving try by Leo Lewis. Well, there was a paper poll in a St. Paul newspaper.
One of the old paper polls.
I know they're your
I've
favorites.
been involved in paper polls.
Aren't those fun?
And won very few, I might add. They have them in Dallas, too.
Yes. Wade Wilson won 90% of the votes, the people who wrote in. And Wade Wilson says that doesn't mean anything. Due to the fans wanting quarterback.
Right, fans. I don't think coaches paying attention to that. It really causes more trouble than anything. It's fun for the papers and it's fun for the writers. Gets everything stirred up, but the coaches, they just soon do without those things.
Here's Coleman's second punt. It's short again. Wendell Davis on one hop. Out of bounds across the 30 near the 32-yard line. Tackle made by Chris Martin, a 38-yard punt. And a 10-yard return. Bob Schnelker talks it over with both Wade Wilson and Tommy Kramer. Timeout, 7-7 ball game.
Youth.
Tommy Kramer has to be pleased pleased with his first quarter in a couple of minutes. 5 of 7 for 75 yards. He's talking with Rich Gannon, who is the third man in this quarterback battle. Or rather, Mike Greenfield. Gannon is the third man. Greenfield is kind of a spectator. First down and 10, Chicago. Galvin Thomas, Neil Anderson in the backfield. New tight end in for the Bears, James Thornton. Crossing pattern. Neil Anderson, nice spin move out to the 40-yard line. Henry Thomas makes the tackle with help from Joey Brown.
Crossing routes are so much fun, especially when you get the ball to the hands of a Neil Anderson, one of these shifty backs. And when you cross a route, I have a back going across, he's always going against the grain of a defense or through the seams. And so when he catches the football, there's always a place to run with the football. And Tom Zach, the quarterback, he got him the football and let him run 8 yards.
Mike Tomczak in 87, 5 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, completed 54.5%, second down and 2. So McMahon might be through for the night. Split backs on second and short. Neil Anderson goes left, good speed. Nice darting move for the first down at the 44. Walker Lee Ashley, who someday will replace Scott Studstell. There's Jim McMahon. Boy, does he make a difference. I think he's ever been as important to this team as Elway is to Denver.
Hey, I've said it all along, and the key for Jim McMahon is the last year on his contract. But if he wants, he has got to play 16 games. As great as he is when he's healthy, he has got to play 16 games. And he told me, he said, hey, they only pay me enough for 6 games, so I just play 6 games.
Oh.
What do you make, an 800 grand?
First and 10, Bears, 7-7 ball game, 10 minutes to go first half. Tomczak hands it off to Calvin Thomas. Runs into traffic and works for a couple of yards after the 48. Solomon Ashley and Chris Martin, who's in the linebacker, make the stop. There's McMahon. I ran into him in the most unlikely place in June in a pizzeria in Venice.
You don't need to be eating pizza, Vern.
And no, and neither did McMahon, as a matter of fact. And he was with his agent, and we were talking about the medical problems, and his agent said he thought that Jim may have lost close to $500,000 in incentives just because of injuries.
In all my 14 years of playing, my incentives didn't total up to $50,000.
Don't believe it.
Huh? Hey, you're looking at a Swedish guy here, but I like. Not on your life.
9:12 to go first half. Brad Muster, the #1 draft pick, is in the lineup. Play fake. Sanders. Tomczak. Diving try by Dennis Gentry. Incomplete pass.
I don't know how these receivers can do it. I don't know how they have the courage to come off and run in between 2 defensive backs and catch the football. I just don't know how they do it. And that time, Gentry going inside. And the one thing I really liked about the pass that Tomczak threw, he kept it nice and low and protected the receiver. Now, you'll notice inside, Gentry goes down low, protects the hit coming over top.
3rd and 6 as Gentry breaks to the left side.
Of course, he didn't catch it, but still, it was low.
Some kind of chant goes up from the Swedes. Tomczak. Incomplete. Flags on the far side away from the ball. Isaac Holt was defending the pass to Dennis McKinnon. Getting a look at Jerry Seaman. There are 2 flags down. There's also one in the offensive backfield. And here's Seaman with a preliminary indication. Offensive pass interference seems to be one of them. The officiating crew, by the way, Seaman is joined by John Keck, Leo Miles, Dale Oram, Paul Betts, Dick Creed, and Ed Merrifield, NFL crew.
Illegal hands to the face, number 71 offense. Offensive pass interference, number 29. Both penalties are declined. 4th down.
That doesn't look like the guy we usually see at the Met.
Hey, you know, fans are watching this game probably wondering why aren't we seeing any instant replay, but we don't have it. We don't have any instant. We're in a neutral site, so therefore we won't have instant replay today.
This may be the ultimate neutral site.
Huh?
The league has decided not to use instant replay when games are played at neutral sites, we are told. So there's the catch at the 22-yard line. Greg Richardson. And another flag is down. 29-yard punt if it stands. There's another of the ubiquitous calls in the NFL, ineligible man downfield. Leo Miles, the man who made that. Here's Jerry.
Ineligible downfield. Number 93, kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
I was talking to him in the hotel lobby yesterday, and he said that he worked an exhibition game last week, and I shall not say which one because I don't want to indict anybody unfairly. But there was a man, kick coverage, who didn't know the rule, did not know that you couldn't leave until the ball had been punted. And Miles threw the flag on him 3 times in a row, finally went over and said, "Son, do you know you can't do that?" The guy said, "No, sir, I didn't."
You would be surprised at the number of players in the National Football League that absolutely do not understand how many people have to be on the line of scrimmage or where they have to line up or how many people can catch a football. Actually, we're never taught those things. We're only assumed, the coaches assume we know them, and half the time we don't.
Second punt. Richardson. Out of bounds at the 23-yard line. 36-yard punt this time. 3 on the return. 8 minutes and 39 seconds to go first half. Chicago, Minnesota, tied 7-7. The National Football League has gone international. We are in Scandinavia at Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg, Sweden. A crowd of better than 40,000 watching the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings play the first NFL game on the continent. Tied 7-7, 8:39 to go first half. Vern Lundquist along with Terry Bradshaw. Alfred Anderson gets the hand up the middle. Dick Shapiro makes the tackle, and we go down to Irv Cross.
Mike Lynn, Executive Vice President and General Manager of the Minnesota Vikings, is really one of the men who spearheaded this game. Mike, why Gothenburg?
Well, one of the reasons why is because of Volvo's involvement in this game. They, being a major corporation, were able to get someone who could organize the game in a country where an NFL game has never been played before. So it's very important to us to have a major sponsor like Volvo to handle all of this. I mean, we played in an area where there wasn't any chance. Here goes a touchdown. I'm sure they prefer to look at this than to hear me.
Mike, you know, next year you're talking about going to Germany, and the year after that, perhaps even Russia. Why the big interest in international expansion for the National Football League?
When do I expect international expansion? I think as soon as we get supersonic planes that can fly to Europe or any part of the Far East or anything like that in 2 or 3 hours, maybe you see international expansion at that time.
All right, thanks, Mike. Vern?
Well, Anthony Carter showed some supersonic speed, a 73-yard touchdown catch off the pass from Tommy Kramer, and we'll look at it again. Terry?
Simple, quick slant inside. No blitz here. Just a nice job by Kramer and Carter. Carter on a deep slant comes all the way across the middle. Kramer gets him the football, and then he just simply outruns everyone.
Mike Lynn didn't realize it, but he just lost his big chance. He could have done play-by-play and may have cost me my job. Here's the kick. Chuck Nelson. It's good. Nelson's got a little Scandinavian in his background. He's from Everett, Washington, and the University of 14-7 on the 73-yard pass.
Hello. Ed's relatives are still with us.
7:48 to go first half. 73-yard touchdown toss. Tommy Kramer to Anthony Carter. And a 14-7 Minnesota lead. The umbrellas have come out in the terraces, the standing room area of Ullevi Stadium. 51 seconds, 2 plays. And you think they haven't done a good job of merchandising this game, huh?
Not bad. Go from the stands, go to the kicker.
Eric Starr, Lemuel Stinson are back. That's Eric Starr, free agent out of North Carolina. Stinson from Texas Tech. And this will be Eric Starr at the 1. They like him. Here's one reason why. Wyman Henderson catches up with Eric Starr, 42 yards on the return. Next Saturday on CBS Sports at 4 o'clock Eastern, the International from Castle Pines Country Club in Castle Rock, Colorado. You'll see Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, and defending champion John Cook. That's the International next Saturday, right here on CBS. In the meantime, Tomczak back at quarterback for the Bears. First down at the 42. Tomczak into the flat. Taught by Thomas Sanders, the 4-year man from Texas A&M, number 20. Jesse Solomon made the tackle.
Those are good passes on first down, especially when you're playing teams that like to drop their linebackers deep. You run a receiver down there about 15 yards. You take a wide flare with the back. If the linebackers go deep, then you just dump it off to the back, and he's into the linebackers, and all of a sudden you get 5 yards.
I just noticed something, Terry. Hilgenberg is going to want to renegotiate his contract. And McMahon is on the bench, and Hilgenberg's still in there.
I believe you got a setup here, don't you? They've got 3 centers behind him.
Up the middle, denied the first down. Millard is up on top as Sanders is tackled by Walker Lee Ashley. And then Millard was there to help. Of course, we have told you this is the first game played on the continent in Scandinavia. Look how interest around the world has grown in the NFL. Super Bowl 5 was watched in 4 countries, Super Bowl 10 in 7, and then it has grown so that Super Bowl 22 was viewed in 59 countries. And the telecast today, as a matter of fact, of this preseason game is being viewed in 10 countries in Europe and, of course, in the United States. Keith Ortego comes in as a wide receiver as the raindrops have abated somewhat. Tomczak found his man. Face mask. Joey Browner inadvertently reached out and grabbed hold. As Jim Thornton, the tight end, number 80. And here's a young man of immense promise, Terry.
There's the face mask. This Thornton kid is a ex-quarterback at Cal State Fullerton.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty, 47 defense, first down.
You know, number 80 is the next quarterback. And there's Browner coming in grabbing a face mask. Certainly wasn't intentional, but this kid went to college as a quarterback and got hung up reading those weight magazines, and he got to lifting weights and liking what he was seeing, and he lifted himself out of a starting quarterback job at 240 pounds, and now Mike Ditka loves him. He thinks he could possibly be his starting tight end at the beginning of the season.
He is lined up left, number 80. Tomczak in trouble. Really in trouble. Flag is down. Chris Martin led the charge, number 57. Walker Lee Ashley indicates it against the Bears, holding.
These rushes by the
holding, number 71 offense, penalty decline, second down.
These rushes by their linebackers, these are not that hard to pick up. These are just simple linebacker rushes, and the backs are the offensive guards. If it was an odd man front, the guard would have to pick him up, but the back has to pick him up, and they're not doing it. And these guys have a straight shot on the quarterback.
That holding call was on number 71, Cesar Renty, the 7th-round draft choice from Oklahoma. That makes it a second down and 16. Renty lined up at right tackle. Big test today will come probably in the second half when he goes against William Gay. Now he's going up against Noga. Noga takes an inside route, deep pass, no contact, or rather no penalty. As Reggie Rutland, there was contact, all right.
No contact. That was one of those new rules where you can have a little question. You can do a little roughing as you go down through there, as long as you don't impede the guy's direction or his progress.
Not a lot of rules changes this year. The most significant, I think, for fans viewing the game is going to be the installation of the 45-second clock. And on a few occasions, they will revert to the 30-second clock. 3rd and 16. That Diamond Vision scoreboard you see in the upper right-hand corner was imported from Wembley, where it was used in London for the exhibition game a couple of weeks ago. Here's Tomczak deep into double coverage. Nice catch at the 22-yard line.
Hey, how about El Wendell Davis? LSU Fighting Tiger. I knew he had to be a good one because he's from Shreveport, Louisiana. Vern went to Fair Park High School, one of my old arch-rival high schools. Another deep end just down there about 20 yards. Quarterback lays it up in that spot, and then the receiver goes and gets it. And that time, as you can see, Davis jumps up, good hands, pulls it down. Good Louisiana fella. Can't wait to get home and go fishing with it.
Wendell Davis, the second of 2 first-round draft choices this year for Chicago. Brad Muster being the other. They both were late first-round selections. 1st and 10 Bears. They trail 14-7. Galvin Thomas. Brad Edwards, a second-round draft choice for Minnesota from South Carolina, the defensive back, came through to make the tackle. He is another young man that the Vikings are very high on.
Second-round draft choice. He's a free safety. You saw him support that time coming up from the weak safety spot and making the tackle. See changes coming inside. 91 is Brian Habib, defensive tackle. Edwards is one of those guys that they say we're going to groom him for Harris, the other free safety, the starting free safety for the Vikings. They say this guy is smart, runs the secondary well, and we think we got us a good one.
Loss on that play on the tackle by Brad Edwards. Second down and 12. Stunts again by the Vikings. Tom Zach goes left side. Flag is down in the offensive backfield. Isaac Holt makes the tackle on Dennis McKinnon, but they may bring this one back.
Looks like Cesar.
Well, if they catch him holding twice in the first half against Al Noga, it'll be interesting to see what William Gay might do against him.
Well, Mike Ditka wanted to see the pass rush. He wants his kid to have a lot of pass rush. He needs to work on it, but I believe this is going to be on him.
Holding number 71 offense. Still second down.
There you go. That's Noga, 99. He's right on the outside of 71. There's the hand on the inside by Rennie. But Noga has the upper angle. He gets to the outside. That's a good takedown right there. Hey, that is a good takedown. He's got an all-pro hold, though. I like that. He's learned that already.
Yeah, looks like Hulk Hogan. Or Ric Flair. Second down and 22. Hey, I know that wrestling stuff. Second down at 22. 4 wide receivers for the Bears. Another flag down. Another flag on the far side. Tom Zach lobs it deep for Davis. No. Isaac Holt knocked it away.
This time we're going to have Al Noga, 99, offsides.
Maybe.
Well, he sure look offside to me, Vern. He's about 2 yards up the field before the ball is snapped.
Well,
fans are impatient. Listen to him.
Oh, they're enjoying the play.
Well, they think he's offside too.
Number 99 defense. Still second down.
Okay, you're 2 for 2. And William Gay is coming in.
There he is. 1 step over. Rennie says, I got you now. Now he gets position, but even when he goes after him, he misses him.
Noga is out, and William Gay, who has played for so many years with the Detroit Lions, number 78. There's Al Noga. He is Nico Noga's little brother. Nico with the Phoenix Cardinals. Keith Millard is back in now defensively. Tom Zach. There's his jump pass. There's the catch.
Hey, maybe they must work on this in practice. McMahon does it. Then Tomaszak gets up in the air.
Watch Cesar Rente, and this is his first offensive play against William Gay.
All right, there we have him isolated. Now Gay's got him once again to the outside. Does a good job of getting inside of him that time. Really, Gay put a lot of pressure, but he allowed enough time. Rente, hey, even though we've got him isolated, this is exactly what Ditka wants him to have. He needs this, and he said he needs as much of it as he can get, and the Gay matchup is exactly what he wanted to see.
Out of the shotgun now on 3rd down. And another flag. Boy, the Swedes are going to go nuts over the flags. No, it's not a flag. It's a 2-minute warning. I went nuts anticipating a flag.
Hey, it's preseason, right, Vern?
Thank heavens. We'll be right back. Nearing 8:15 in the evening in Gothenburg, Sweden, the lights begin to flicker in the downtown area and some of the apartment houses around Ullevi Stadium. And there are some American fans from Chicago who have come over to watch their beloved Bears. 3rd and 11, 14-7 Minnesota leads. Tom Zach in the shotgun. 4-man rush for the Vikings. A pump. Wide open. Gentry touchdown.
to pass some credit out here. Let's pass the credit out to Tom Zach, the quarterback. He had McKinnon on the right running a fly pattern, and he had Gentry on the left running a fly. Watch him look to the right. There's the punt. Number 47 goes to the right, and then he turns right around and fires to Gentry. He had a double seam route. He punked to the right, got the safety out of there, then went back the other way.
Did he look the safety off in addition to the pump?
Well, the pump was designed to get him out of the way. They knew that he would take it. They knew that the safety would take it. That's the reason they did it. They knew this coming into this football game.
We're tied. 14-14 as Tom Zach finds Gentry and evens the score at 14 all. The Bears and the Vikings. Gothenburg, Sweden this week, and next Saturday night from the Coliseum in Los Angeles, it's the Redskins against the Raiders. That'll be live 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. I'll be out there with John Madden. John's watching today, said to give you his best, and that
Can he speak a little Swedish for me?
I'll teach him some when we get back.
Hey, take it back. Hey, he looked good, doesn't he? Lost that weight.
Meanwhile,
hey, he's still at it. Look at this. This guy, he's got to be going after one of those Guinness Book of Records, because he has bounced it off his head. He's kicked it off his ankle, off his knee. He's been going now for about 5 and 6 hours. This guy's something else.
That's going to make a great headache commercial.
He's got 4 people down there that really encourage him to. Big soccer fans, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This stadium has, of course, been host to World Cup soccer matches. It was built in 1955, and the first big event here was a boxing match. Remember Ingemar Johansson?
Oh, you bet.
He knocked out Eddie Macon.
Thunder and lightning.
Yep, Thunder and lightning. He's from Gothenburg. Kick by Kevin Butler. Darrell Harris grabs it at the 4. Lemuel Stinson, number 32, makes the tackle, a 17-yard return. And the ball is at the 26-yard line. First down for the Vikings. Darrell Harris stays in. Wade Wilson is now in at quarterback, so Kramer might be done for the night. Tommy Kramer's 6 of 8 for 148 yards. Flip into the right flat. Alan Rice out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Alan Rice in 87, 201 yards, 19 receptions. Averaging just under 11 yards per catch. And a first down 10 at the 33.
All these halfbacks for the Vikings have to be able to run with the football. They have to be able to catch it. If they can't do it, they can't make this football team, because Snooker likes to throw the football to his halfbacks.
Wade Wilson out of East Texas State, back to pass for the second time. Alan Rice, that is a forward pass. Coming up at halftime, Irv Cross will bring the highlights of the Euro Bowl '88, the European Super Bowl between the, now listen to this one, the Amsterdam Crusaders and my favorite team in Europe, the Helsinki Roosters. He'll take a look at how the players spent 7 days in Sweden, and we'll get a taste of some Swedish home cooking, all coming up at halftime.
Hey, I would really like to hear the Helsinki Roosters fight song.
You know what? You're not going to. Second down and 10. Couple of rookies in the offensive line now. Todd Kalis and Randall McDaniel for the Vikings, and the Vikings like them both a lot. Alfred Anderson up the middle. Out near the 36. Clock shows a minute 29 to go before halftime. Sean Smith and Jim Althoff make the tackle. And time is taken by the Vikings. 1:28 to go, first half. Wade Wilson comes to talk it over with Jerry Burns. We're tied at 14. 1:28 to go, first half. Back at Ulevy Stadium, 14-14 ball game. And Wade Wilson will play the remainder of this half and most of the third quarter in his continuing battle.
Is that a boo I hear?
We've heard our first boo. I don't know, maybe the soccer player quit. Into the flat, another incomplete pass. Wade Wilson is, of course, involved in this competition, Terry, with Tommy Kramer. They are very good friends, and that has to be difficult.
Well, they're good friends, and the thing that Wilson is concerned about, since the competition is so heated now with the controversy that's going on in Minneapolis, is that he and Kramer are such good friends. He's afraid now that their friendship is going to be scarred a little bit by this. And I agree, because when I was fighting against Hanratty and Cliff Stout and Joe Gilliam, they were my friends. But I'm going to tell you right now, if it became the friendship or winning the starting job, hey, forget the friendship. I want to start. And that's kind of what Wilson is saying.
Greg Coleman punts it deep to Lou Barnes, and a flag is down. Sam Anno, who snapped the ball, was downfield to make the tackle, number 53. 39-yard punt, 8 on the return. In the background, you perhaps occasionally can hear the Swedish public address announcer. The man who is sitting to his side and helping explain this game is Jan Stenerud.
John, they brought him in, being a...
During the return, number 93 receiving team, first down.
They're the two quarterbacks.
See, it's nice right now, because Kramer's had a good night, 6 of 8, 148 to TD, and Wilson says, look, I want to play. If I'm not going to start for the Vikings, I've served my apprenticeship here. Trade me. I mean, he said that in the papers. Trade me, get me out of here. I don't blame him. I agree. Get me out here. Mike Lynn, he says, forget it. We've got 3 good quarterbacks, and we're going to keep them. I believe Wilson could cause enough trouble if he should lose the job. I believe Lynn would trade him.
Handoff left side. Thomas Sanders. Well, we chatted with Jerry Burns about that circumstance. Would come down to a request for a trade, and would they honor it? And he said, I'll never say never.
We really got a timeout, but that's true. You never say never. You never want to say, I won't do this or I won't do that, because if someone offers a number 1 for Wilson, because I don't believe Kramer could get a number 1, I believe that he would say, fine, I'll take a number 1 and let you have him, because this candidate gets pretty good. We'll like him a lot.
Raging dispute, what percentage of a football team is a quarterback worth? Al Davis is claiming in Los Angeles for the Raiders now that they don't have a quarterback problem, that the quarterback spot is overrated. Now, this is a little unfair to ask you.
I don't believe Al said that.
I saw it somewhere.
Well, he's evidently had a hard day at the office, because I don't believe there's a more important position on the field than quarterback, and that's just the way it is. You've got to have the other people, obviously, to win. But I believe the nucleus of a great football team will start with the guy that takes the snap.
Somewhere back in there.
There he is. Jan Stenerud.
Jan Stenerud in the left-hand side. Timeout, Jan. Explain what it is.
He's telling them.
Now, he's going to tell the Ole Anderson there what timeout is. The second all-time leading scorer in NFL history, 1,699 points. Second down and 10. Calvin Thomas wrapped up by Jesse Solomon. And another timeout has been called. Mike Ditka, in the meantime, has a team that has lost Wilbur Marshall to the Redskins, has lost Gary Fensick to CBS. Well, they weren't booing the soccer player. He's still going.
Well, I thought we had something exciting going. You see these fans.
They were trying to start the wave.
They had them a little wave going, and then they forgot. When it got down to the low side, they forgot. So they quit on it. But I'm sure before this game's over with, we'll have a real continent-type wave.
Oh, it's a Scandinavian.
Scandinavian wave.
Okay. Maybe they'll have the good sense not to.
Well, it's going to get in the corner down there and fizzle out.
Yeah, it sure will, because
there's nobody there.
A couple of Viking ghosts down there in the end zone, and that's it.
I was over in the park getting my run in before the game at Valkeman til Slotskogen today, running, and
look at this.
And they were, look at this, Redskin world champions.
The Hogs have made it to Gothenburg.
Got a lot of service folks over here from Germany watching this game.
3rd and 11. 54 seconds to go. Hand off to the left side, and a flag is down. I can imagine where soccer, for the most part, Terry, is a continuous sport. And they must be wondering what in the world is going on with these plays at the end of the quarter. Here's Jerry Seaman.
Illegal motion, number 80 offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
Well, as I was saying, I was at Volcom until Slotskogan, which is a park, and every blade of grass had a soccer ball on it today. 5,000 people there playing soccer. That little fella's down there pounding that soccer ball on his head, and then soccer is it's all out. It's 2 hours solid kicking the ball up and down the field, and football stops a lot, and I'm sure they're asking themselves, why are they stopping?
Lewis Berry is on the punt as the soccer player continues.
I wonder if I got that park out. I think I said that right?
Well, what you actually said was, welcome to Slotskogan. But that's okay. You were.
No.
Velkommen.
Welcome.
Till is 2.
Slotskogan is...
That's the name of the park.
That's the forest.
That's right.
Castle in the forest.
Got it. Out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 52-yard punt, 11 on the return. Herb Cross, of course, is with us, and you're going to see the Helsinki Roosters against the Amsterdam Crusaders. I'm not making this up.
Yes,
we'll take a look at how the players spent 7 days in Sweden. I don't know if they're going to have highlights of the boat trip up to the fortress, but the Vikings hated the boat trip and the Bears loved it.
Notice all those beautiful blonde people. Swedish people.
Welcome to my native land. Across the middle, tip drill. Incomplete. Sean Gale diving for it. It was intended for Alan Rice. The ladies are lovely here, aren't they? And the people. And it's been fun to go around Gothenburg and see the displays in the various department stores in the promotion of the game. They had one fun display with the mannequins in the NK department store here, which is a large one in Scandinavia. The problem is they had 2 mannequins, and Matt Suey of the Bears was shown tackling Chris Dolman of the Vikings. Shotgun. Wilson. Rice out of bounds, 1st down, clock stops. 25 seconds to go.
One of the little dimensions that Wilson does give you that Tommy Kramer, although Tommy Kramer's done a good job in the first quarter of stepping up in the pocket, but Wilson can step up in the pocket and then move out of the pocket. He has great athletic skills. He's quick with his feet. He gets outside wide, something Kramer doesn't do and something Wilson does very well. I like a quarterback that moves around. I like an Elway. I like a Wilson. I think it's exciting.
Well, Wilson would like to get something on the boards, either a field goal or a touchdown before halftime. Goes deep across the middle. Caught? Yes, it was. And a fine catch by Jim Gustafson, number 80, as Jim McMahon looks on.
Got his 2-minute drill, 11 seconds going, 2 plays called.
Needs to get this one out of bounds for a time call as Gustafson makes the catch. 2 seconds to go. And they successfully stopped the clock. Nope, they did not successfully stop the clock. Time has expired. That's the end of the first half with our score. The Chicago Bears 14. The Minnesota Vikings 14. Back in Gothenburg in a moment.
CBS Sports Sunday is sponsored by Buick and your Buick dealer. The great American road belongs to Buick. Plaques. The problem is plaque, and the solution is plaques. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Dentists warn, the #1 dental problem isn't cavities. It isn't tartar. It's plaque. Building up on your teeth every day. And no matter how much you brush, you don't get enough plaque off your teeth, especially in hard-to-reach places. The problem is plaque. The solution is plaques. Rinse with plaques before brushing, and you can remove 300% more plaque than brushing alone. Plaques, original flavor and soft mint, removes 300% more plaque than brushing alone.
This architect-style swing-arm lamp is only $5.88, and the Alston's Massage Spray Hand Shower is only $9.99. The right stuff at the right price, right here. Hey, let me tell you, Ace is a place for me.
Canada, the wind blows a little wilder. Some people say you can taste it in the beer. Molson Golden, Molson Light. Molson is Canadian beer.
They are the sports power players, armed and daring, and coming to America. It's the toughest tournament in the world, the U.S. Open, an aerial assault, where tennis's power elite play for anything but love. Navratilova, Connors, Everett, McEnroe, Graf, Agassi, Sabatini, and so many more. The world's toughest tennis, the U.S. Open on CBS Sports.
It's halftime here in Gothenburg, Sweden, where we have a 14-14 tie between the Bears and the Vikings. But the big play in the first half came from Viking quarterback Tommy Kramer. Hit Anthony Carter on a 73-yard touchdown pass. And performing for the fans on the field is a Hibbing High School band who flew all the way from Minnesota. Hello, everybody. I'm Irv Cross, and welcome back to our halftime Swedish style. In the United States, it's the Super Bowl, but over here, it's the Euro Bowl. And last Sunday, Europe's two best teams met in a truly international championship match. The coveted golden helmet was at stake as the Amsterdam Crusaders took on the Roosters from Helsinki.
Arizuli in motion.
The Roosters crowed early as Mike Sugar Kane broke free on the inside reverse and sprinted 52 yards for a 7-0 Helsinki lead.
6 points, success at last for the Roosters the game. I think that is indicative of the game.
Trailing 21-7 in the fourth quarter, Amsterdam head coach and quarterback Paul Trout called his own number and dived into the end zone as the Crusaders fought back.
It worked again.
But in the end, it was Mike Kane who scored his fourth TD and earned Man of the Match honors, giving Helsinki the Euro Bowl championship. Oh no, Giant fans, don't worry, it's not Bill Parcells. It's Chad Fenwick, Rooster head coach, getting soaked.
The roar of the crowd as the Finns hold the helmet aloft.
It was a convincing Rooster win, but I don't know if they're quite ready for the Washington Redskins. You know, this week, 169 big, burly, giant men set out on an expedition and landed on the shores of Sweden. And for 7 days, they explored this Scandinavian country. No, they weren't the Swedish Vikings, but the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. The first explorers arrived by more modern means than their Swedish counterparts 350 years ago. And although they were bleary-eyed from the long journey, they were all smiles at the prospect of a new adventure. But soon they were on the practice field, and at first, this seemed like any other long road trip. Even though we're here in Gothenburg, the Bears and Vikings are here to play a football game. And that entails all the training and conditioning necessary for a big effort. But make no mistake about it, we are in Sweden, and it hasn't been all work and no play. Let's face it, this is not a typical football game. All sorts of activities have been planned for the players to make sure this is a week they'll never forget.
You better turn around. I don't think you're going to like what you're about to see.
Football is hazardous enough, but their Swedish hosts thought a few more thrills would be appropriate.
I'm looking for some danger, excitement, adventure. I ain't found it yet.
Don't worry, Otis. When you least expect it, you will. Even at an amusement park, the players were among the main attractions. And new Swedish football fans were getting their thrills just being close to the big guys. Before long, the players were having the time of their lives.
Breaking the momentum, just practicing all day, and now you get a time to relax and enjoy yourself. You know, get your mind not off of football, but away from football a little bit, so it's kind of relaxing.
Being in a different country means experiencing a new culture. And later in the week, the teams took a boat trip to Marstrand, one of the thousands of beautiful islands which line the coastline. There, an ancient castle awaited, and dinner that night provided a taste of Swedish past. But history soon gave way to high tech. The players were treated to an air and auto show, the Swedes' version of contact sports. It was a different view at every turn, even a new two-wheel driving record. Soon the term summer camp had taken on new meaning.
Training camp gets to be a very monotonous situation, and at least just having the time to take the trip, you know, the jet lag and everything is worth it just to get away from the monotony of training camp.
Well, that's it for now. But as we all know, the main event of the week is still only half over. It was certainly a hectic week for those explorers, and I'm going to get wet. It's raining out here. You know, one of the warmest welcomes the players received occurred on Thursday when a local family opened their home to 2 Chicago Bears and their wives for dinner, Swedish style. Gloria and her husband, Kurt Becker, and Nancy and Jim McMahon were the honored guests of Kent and Margene Reading. There was time for a friendly chat in the living room while final preparations were being made for dinner. New potatoes, Swedish meatballs, and assorted seafood delicacies.
This is a seafood plate, I guess, with little Swedish specialties. Some of the stuff you may eat, some of it you may not.
And what would a Swedish meal be without meatballs?
Very Swedish, and there isn't a Swede that doesn't like this. So we want you guys to eat because we made over 200 meatballs.
It's our best meal.
Oh, yeah? We hope you enjoyed the food, the fish. This is the basic Swedish stuff, and we're happy that you took the time out to come and see us, and see our home, see our family, and we wish you welcome back. Okay? Cheers.
And win Sunday.
Yeah.
All I can say is, Joka inte första atom åt alltihop. Translated, I can't believe they ate the whole thing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Irv Cross. Vernon Terry will be back with more from Sweden after this word from your local station.
On the field at your Living Stadium in Gothenburg, Sweden, that is the Hibbing High School Band from Hibbing, Minnesota. And this crowd gathered in continuing raindrops now, increasingly excited by what they're seeing, their first taste of American football, National Football League style, here in Gothenburg, Sweden. Halftime with the Bears and the Vikings tied at 14-14. And I can't believe Irv Cross stole my Swedish thunder. Tunder, that is. But on the whole, Terry Bradshaw, I think the Swedes have really shown an enjoyment and appreciation for what they've seen.
I think so, especially going into the second quarter. We got a semi-wave going. We got a lot of action, some long passes, some good runs, and the noise picked up. And stepping out of from under our little booth earlier, you could hear the chatting. You know, they are starting to get into this.
I keep trying to think of how you and I would respond if we went to our first cricket match. I'd hate to think about what it would be like to try and broadcast that, but they really have caught on to it. They've done a wonderful job here in Sweden of trying to explain the game to them.
I think so. They've done a beautiful job of it. And the folks have shown up, are excited about it, and there's a lot of questions, and maybe, you know, down the road they might have them a team here. Huh?
The Gothenburg Chickens or something like that.
Yeah, well, you got the
That's the Helsinki Roosters. How about what's happened on the field now? Anything really caught your attention?
Well, we talked about our quarterback controversy, and Tommy Kramer came right out, responded to that type of pressure, and he got the long touchdown pass into Carter. He was extremely sharp, 6 of 8, 140-something yards and a touchdown. Extremely sharp. Actually, Wilson, our understanding was he would be the one starting the game because Kramer started last week, but they gave it to Kramer. It looks like Kramer has the edge right now.
Let's take a look at the second touchdown from Minnesota. It was Tommy Kramer and Anthony Carter hooking up on a 73-yarder.
It's a simple little slant, a deep slant. Pressure inside, Kramer stepping up into the pocket, Hits his man Carter. Last week, 2 catches over 80 yards and 1 touchdown. Here's another long one, 73 yards, I believe it is. And once he catches it, gets in the seam of the zones, makes no difference. He outruns everyone.
That made it 14-7 Chicago, or rather Minnesota lead, but it didn't last long. Jim McMahon, the point we've made, he's been healthy throughout the training camp, so important. But Mike Tomczak came in the second quarter and found Dennis Gentry for a touchdown.
Tomczak has played extremely well when he's had an opportunity. Played well last year for the Bears. He comes in. This is an excellent job by Tomczak, the quarterback of the Bears. He will look to his right, try to hit McKinnon. There's the pump, then turns around, gets the free safety to commit to the right, turns around and hits his man Gentry down the left side, down the middle, wide open for a touchdown. Good job that time by Tomczak.
14-14 at halftime, as the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings entertain the crowd in Gothenburg. CBS Sports coverage of the NFL continues after this message and word from your local station. As you can tell in the background, darkness has not completely descended on Gothenburg, Sweden, but the lights are out. The fellow on the right, I knew somehow he'd find a way to get on television. His name is Silky Sullivan. He's from Memphis, and he's the man, honest to heaven, who was responsible for suggesting that this game be played here. He went to Mike Lynn with the idea. And
really Nelson to his right, isn't it?
I don't want to know how much he paid for those horns.
Well, he got on TV. We told him there was no way we were going to put him on television. We hurt his feelings, and he still got on anyway.
He made it. Ullevi Stadium, Gothenburg, Sweden. Crowd of about 40,000. As darkness descends, Wade Wilson out of East Texas State lives in Dallas in the offseason and is about to become a stockbroker. 14-14. Chicago and Minnesota. Second half, of course, will be interesting because of the number of young players who will play, and there are a number of young men on both sides fighting for jobs, especially here in the second preseason game with only 20 days until the start of the regular season.
And they'll be evenly matched up because both these football teams will play a great number of second, third string, fourth string, fifth string. I mean, you know, they'll just go down the line. All of them will get a chance to play, and so it'll be evenly matched, and they'll be able to evaluate them accordingly. It's not like they're going to be against one against three or 3 against 1. It'll be 2 against 2, 3 against 3, whatever.
Barry Belli will kick off for the Minnesota Vikings.
There's one of them right there.
This might be his chance to star in a football game this year. Kick it deep, Barry. Because Chuck Nelson, I think, is going to pretty much have that Viking kicking job locked up. But you never know who else around the league might need one. Taken by Lemuel Stinson. 6th-round pick out of Texas Tech. Out to the 31-yard line. The tackle is made by Brad Edwards, number 27. At the half, Chicago 67 rushing yards, 35 for Minnesota. Passing yards almost double in favor of the Vikings. 73 on the touchdown helped. And total plays, how about that? 50-27.
Well, that's unbelievable. Normally in a full game, if you've got anywhere between 70, 78 plays, 80 plays, let's say, hey, you've had a heck of a good game. But 50 plays in the first half, Matt, gosh, that's unheard of.
Mike Tomczak continues as the Bear quarterback. Sanders and Thomas currently in the backfield, and Tomczak to throw. Pass is complete to Glenn Kozlowski, who played with Jim McMahon at Brigham Young University. Kozlowski, one of the stars for the Bears in the replacement games last year.
Kozlowski is one of those receivers, and the Vikings have one by the name of Gustafson. Well, he's the number 80, but both these kids work defenses extremely well. They're very intelligent, and they know how to get open, catch the football, and they're hard to get off your football team.
Here's the stretch of the chain to see if they got the first down.
My entire career, especially in college, I had Kozlowski-type receivers, and these guys could catch the football, get big yardage. You know, they couldn't outrun many folks, but once at least they could catch it. As a quarterback throwing to that type of receiver, I loved it. I knew he'd catch it when I threw it.
Did you find that many with the Steelers, or were we mostly speed?
Oh, listen. Swan's out there listening, Stallworth. Now they'll be fighting over who I'm going to brag on, but
Calvin Sweeney's saying if you call me slow, you got real problems.
Fastest guy on our football team, right. Calvin Sweeney.
1st and 10 for the Bears.
Sorry about that, Ian.
Thomas Sanders across midfield. That's a gain of 9. And the tackle made by Walker Lee Ashley and David Howard, along with Joey Browner.
A delay. Notice the delay. Notice how Sanders left of your screen. Number 20 just slides over. Thomas goes up inside as if he's going to block, and then he does block. He leads for Sanders. A little delayed lead blocking that time by the Bears.
James Thornton breaks out of the huddle. Thomas Sanders, 87, 122 yards. 14-14 ball game. Opening moments, second half. Kozlowski goes wide left. Calvin Thomas, that's good for the first down for Chicago. Hilgenberg's finally getting a rest. John Addix is in at center now. So Jay Hilgenberg's work in Sweden apparently is through. Hilgenberg had a funny story. We were asking him about jet lag. He said the first night, and they got here earlier in the week, he couldn't sleep at all. Woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He knew there were some courtesy cars down in the lobby. He went down and told the people at the courtesy desk, or at the desk, that he was a coach. And borrowed the car and went out and went sightseeing for 2 hours, from 3:30 to 5:30 a.m.
Yeah, well, he slipped up later on.
Yep. Dolman. Chris Dolman with the tackle.
Well, they came in with a blitz that time with Joey Browner and Dolman coming from the outside, but Browner up the middle. But back to Hilgenberg, he slipped, bragging later on to his wife, talking about his on the beach episodes driving around, and he had actually gone to the beach without her, and she'd been wanting to go to the beach, so got himself in trouble.
Dolman with the tackle. Second down and 14. Thomas Sanders, Joey Browner. And the ball back to the 50. Browner from Southern California.
Wife's a model.
Yeah, lives
international model. I mean, not just a model. We're talking full-fledged international model.
Name is Valeria, and her professional name is Aria. And she lives in Paris, has an apartment that she keeps there, and commutes between Minneapolis and Paris. I was talking to Joey, said that this week is the first time they've seen each other in 2 months because she had assignments in Europe.
Hey, he's playing well. She inspires him.
3rd and 13. Shotgun. That could be picked off. It is Isaac Holt. And the Viking contingent in Gothenburg applauds the effort of Isaac Holt.
Well, as much earlier as I bragged on Tomczak for doing a good job of getting free safety off on the touchdown pass, this time he stares down Ortigo, number 89. See him, 89 drives Holt off, and he's coming back for the football. Holt breaks on it extremely well, makes the interception. But that time, Tomczak stared him down all the way. There's a good effort. Holt up inside, knocks it down, and good job of getting that football.
Wilson, DJ Dozier. Tackled by Troy Johnson, number 92. The 5th-round draft choice from Oklahoma. Darrell Harris hurries on the field. It's our understanding we're having some video problems back in the States. We're working to correct that as quickly as we can. In the meantime, it's back to the radio booth for Lundqvist and Bradshaw. 2nd down and 11, or 2nd down and 12 officially. Minnesota going right to left. And they operate from their own 44. Wade Wilson drops back, goes across the middle. Catch is made across the middle by Mike Malarkey, the tight end. He crosses the 45 and is down to the 41-yard line. And we have video back, a 15-yard gain.
Well, we talked about crossing routes to wide receivers, and if you have tight ends that catch the football, and the Vikings like to incorporate their tight ends into their passing plan. One of the few teams that do that very well. Malarkey, a little crossing pattern, beats his man, Egypt Allen, And then did good job that time by Wilson getting him the football.
There goes Malarkey lined up to the left side. First down and 10. The Vikings have the ball at the 41. 14-14 ball game. Just under 10 minutes to go, third period. Quick pitch, Dozier. Blocked from Fenney. And again, it's Troy Johnson who flies out and makes the tackle. That's a gain of about 3. It'll be second down, 7. Minnesota operates with Wade Wilson. Defensively now for Chicago, John Shannon, Dick Japura, Althoff, and Ralph Jarvis. I knew I'd have trouble with that one. Darrell Harris, the free agent from Arizona State. He's tackled by Dante Jones. Harris is a young man that the Viking coaches are paying particular attention to.
Darrell Harris is the type of back they want at halfback. Of course, with Nelson holding out and DJ Dozier getting a good start last year and then falling off short as the season progressed later on. Harris comes in, and especially on kickoff returns, he showed them the quick burst. The thing they like about him, Vern, and you hear this a lot, but they really emphasize this guy has great vision. He sees everything. So they're giving him a good shot tonight.
Hassan Jones in motion on 3rd and 3.
Oh,
the
great
grab made? Yes, Mike Malarkey down around the shoe tops. And Maurice Douglas makes the tackle.
Malarkey looks like a tight end. Look at this. 6'5", 230 on the right of your screen. Egypt Allen will come up and come across. That's Douglas. When Douglas comes up and blitzes the quarterback, then Malarkey goes to the outside and makes the catch.
Do you suppose if we had instant replay here, they might be looking at that one?
Well, we don't have instant replay.
Oh, nice dodge.
It was a great catch.
Nice dodge. 1st and 10 as the Vikings convert a 14-14 ball game, 3rd quarter.
That's how you handle that.
Play fake, and Wilson goes deep down the middle. Hassan Jones open, touchdown.
Pretty. That was pretty. Beautiful call. Excellent call. A little play action, hold the linebackers, and then all Wilson does is just lay it out, and Hassan Jones all the way across the field. Beautiful diving catch in the end zone.
That breaks the tie. And Belli is on to try the extra point. Barry Belli. 30-yard touchdown pass from Wade Wilson. Belli's kick is up and through. Hassan Jones sneaks into the secondary. Minnesota goes on top again by 7, 21-14.
Who's tough enough? The U.S. Open.
6 to go. 3rd quarter. In what has been an entertaining preseason game. Hassan Jones has just made the catch.
A lot of depth at wide receiver for both these football teams. Leo Lewis is the starter, but Hassan Jones come in and play as well every time he's really had the opportunity.
Short kick taken by Lemuel Stinson, who was a sprinter at Texas Tech. Out of bounds at a high hurdler. He's out of bounds at the 33. Coming up next Saturday, the International, Castle Rock, Colorado, 4 o'clock Eastern time. That's that unusual golf tournament that will feature Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, defending champion John Cook, the International, next Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern. Then next Saturday night from the Coliseum in Los Angeles, live at 10 o'clock Eastern time, the defending world champion Washington Redskins take on the Los Angeles Raiders live at 10 o'clock Eastern. That's next Saturday night. The Raiders lost to the Cowboys yesterday afternoon. Mike Tomczak hands it off to Eric Starr, the free agent out of North Carolina. Starr with an outside chance of making this ball club. They like his size, they like his speed.
Well, they've got 6 running backs over there. And Dipka says, you know, this guy is a free agent, but we have to look at him. He's 5'9", about 198 pounds, and he really packs it, and he has those quick feet. and he really delivers a pop into the line of scrimmage. And when he gets hit, he gets down and drives people back, and he says, you know, he's got a chance.
Right now, you've got the free agent from North Carolina and the top draft choice from Stanford in the Bear backfield. And this is Brad Muster, #1 draft choice from Stanford.
Now, I want to watch this guy. I've never seen a back this big that can do so many things. One of the things I believe 25, Brad Muster, will give the Bears, if in fact he should win the starting fullback job, is he gives him 2 backs in there that can really make things happen. With Anderson and Muster, you got Muster who can catch the ball, who can run with the football. He's got to work on his blocking because he was a tailback at Stanford. And then you have Anderson who can catch the ball and who can run it, and defenses have to be concerned about both backs.
Muster gets 5 on the first carry. It's 2nd down and 5. Ball at the 48. Cornerbacks back off. Tomczak knifes it through. Wendell Davis, first down inside the 20.
When you make a gamble and try to play for the ball and make the interception, and you miss, 9 times out of 10 in the National Football League, it's a touchdown. We're seeing Carl Rutland, 48. He backs up. Notice the cushion he's given Dave. Now he comes inside. Now Rutland makes the move, misses it along with Brad Edwards, the free safety. Once that happens, then Wendell Davis has it, and he's moving down towards the goal line.
That's a gain of 35 for the second of the #1 draft choices for the Chicago Bears. 2 catches for 53 yards. Now Eric Starr goes left. Muster directly behind Tomczak. Flag comes flying from downfield. Wyman Henderson makes the tackle on Rogie McGee, who was an LSU teammate of Wendell Davis, and he is a 9th round draft choice of the Bears. Holding defensively.
Holding, number 59 defense, first down.
Joe Kane, rookie from Oregon Tech, who will see considerable action here in the second half. Defensively now, Minnesota has, or rather offensively, they've got defensively a mixture of players in. They got discombobulated. Here's the pitch. Chicago coming right. Starr inside the 10.
You got to like what you're seeing, Starr. You know, another thing about Starr is this. This is something that's very important. When you get behind these huge linemen that the Bears have, and you put a 5'9" halfback back there, and you hand him the ball on a sweep, he is so low you cannot see him. Notice that Bortz is leading him now. Starr sees the cutback. Better hang on to the football, Starr. He sees the cutback. No one can see Starr.
2nd down and 4 for Chicago as darkness is just about descended in Gothenburg, Sweden. 2nd down and 4. Vikings lead it 21-14.
Not only that, Starr, that's that's a good, solid football name.
I would think so.
Starr. First one comes to mind is, of course,
Bart
Starr. If I had a son, I would want to name him.
Why do quarterbacks always have the great names? I mean, Terry Bradshaw.
Bradshaw
nice
is.
Bart.
I love
Starr.
my folks. Now they're listening. I don't think Bradshaw is a real strong name for a quarterback. I needed something else.
It's better than Elmer Splivets. Muster inside the 5, down near the 3. Vern Lundquist.
That won't work. That won't work. Hey, now you notice one thing about 25 Muster when he. And the thing that the Bears coach, especially Johnny Rowland, the running back coach, they're trying to get Muster, who runs real tall, to get down real low. And he says, hey, look, you know, I run that way. Don't change my style. It's like telling a quarterback, don't hold the ball low. Hey, if that's the way he holds it, you drafted him in the first round because he held it low. You drafted him because he holds it high. He running high. When he hits people, though, he lowers his shoulder.
Joe Kane is the injured Minnesota player. Chris Martin has come in to take his place, and Kane will be assisted off the field. That's a tough break for that young man because they wanted to take a long look at him tonight. Time has been called from Eulaby Stadium.
Right, guys? Right, Coach.
Raindrops are accompanying the arrival of darkness in Gothenburg, Sweden now. We've had intermittent rain showers throughout the week, and it has begun to rain again. First and goal from the 3 for the Bears in their attempt to tie it up. Muster to about the 1-yard line. Muster had a sensational junior season at Stanford, and then he was bothered by an ankle injury for much of his senior year. He was talked about as a potential Heisman candidate going into his senior season. Has his economics degree from Stanford with a better than 3-point average, but he has an unusual superstition. Terry?
Well, he's crazy about wrestling, and his big hero in life, the guy he wants to meet, is Ric Flair, the great wrestler that I'd never heard of. And see the tape on his fingers, folks? Ric Flair tapes his fingers up just like that, and so the Stanford grad, the great school of minds with a 3.15 GPA, tapes the tip of his fingers up.
And then gets belted as he gets near the line of scrimmage.
That'll knock a little of that tape off.
Muster also wears a black Ric Flair t-shirt under that jersey and under those pads. And there are the fingers.
Look at the fingers.
Now, you could chase me from here to China, and I wouldn't know how Ric Flair tapes his fingers, but Brad Muster tells me that's the way he does.
Hey, he's crazy about this Ric Flair guy, and I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but I just don't sit by the TV and watch Ric Flair, but I'm going to look him up now because he's got my interest. The tape fingertips, that intrigues me.
Starr. No! 4th and goal.
First thing you learn as a running back inside the 5-yard line, you never leave your feet unless you're on the 1-yard line, and that's all out Walter Payton. Inside the 5, stay on your feet, especially the size of Starr. Stay on your feet and then cut back inside. Now you see Ric Flair's hero leading the way, and then Starr comes back. But notice how he cut back into the grain and left his feet when all he had to do was stay to the outside, use his speed, and there was a big hole there, and he could have gone into the end zone.
Walker Lee Ashley and William Gay made the tackle. Time on the field. Time has been called by the Bears. They have a 4th and goal in their attempt to tie up this ball game with under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Mike Ditka has decided he wants to learn a little bit more about his goal line offense. He sent 3 running backs in, Starr, Calvin Thomas, and Muster, and they will go for it on 4th and 1.
Why not? It's preseason. Find out what these kids are made of. Hey, I'm all for it. It's exciting. One foot now Starr, if he wants to, he can get up in the air and leap over the line of scrimmage. But a while ago, no. But this will be interesting. Play action, crossing route.
Almost didn't get the handoff made. And that is a touchdown as Brad Muster puts it through. Michael McCaskey of the Chicago Bears on the left, and Mayor Eugene Sawyer of Chicago applaud the effort of Brad Muster.
Well, so much for play action. Counter, turns around, hands to Muster, nice and low. Hey, nothing high about that. Good low running there. That's why they got him in here. 25, 230 pounds. Give it to him.
So a chance to tie it up now. Tim Lasher, who was with this ball club as a replacement player for 3 weeks last season, out of the University of Oklahoma and Dallas, and the kick is good. So with 1:51 to go, 3rd quarter in Gothenburg, Sweden, we're tied.
Yesterday's copper-top battery would need more than a wing and a prayer to keep up with today's Duracell battery. Because today's is so much better, it'll last up to 30% longer than the one we made just 3 years ago. Which means that yesterday's battery now falls a bit short. Look for the new Duracell. AA 8-pack.
A lot of beers have been trying to knock out Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Beers from Europe, beers from the night. Even beers with ugly dogs as mascots. Yet Pabst Blue Ribbon beer keeps coming back. And back and back. Why? Because for over 100 years, Pabst has been consistently brewed with only the finest hops and grains. It's what's inside that counts.
If you don't understand why people will do absolutely anything to get to Pizza Hut these days, you haven't tasted our new hand-tossed traditional pizza. Because once you get a bite of that perfect crust and savor that special blend of 3 delicious cheeses, there's only one thing you can do. Come right back for more. Pizza Hut's new hand-tossed traditional pizza. Try it today. We promise it'll be worth the trip. Pizza Hut, making it great.
Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg has been the site of boxing, soccer, field hockey, rugby, and tonight, American football. First time on the continent, 21-21, Chicago and Minnesota. Vern Lundquist and Terry Bradshaw here. And Darrell Harris is the deep man as Tim Lasher gets ready to kick off now for the Chicago Bears. Both these teams will be leaving Sweden tomorrow. Charter jets back, respectively, to Minnesota and Chicago. Short kick by Lasher. Scramble for the ball. And the Vikings will have it at the 27-yard line, first down and 10. Wade Wilson, Tommy Kramer. Jerry Burns said after last week, nothing has changed. They're even. And I would think on what we've seen tonight, that same could be said. Kramer, terrific night, 6 of 8 for 148, but Wilson is counted with 8 of 11 for 109.
Yeah, and I can just see it now on the papers. They'll say Wilson's going up against the second bunch. You know, like I said earlier, that's okay because things are even, but this is the starting quarterback last year for the Vikings.
DJ Dozier, who's getting a lot of work tonight. Reggie Phillips makes the tackle. Dozier getting a lot of work with Darren Nelson holding out back home, and Gary Zimmerman, Kirk Loudermilk, and Doug Martin also holdouts. Mike Lynn, the general manager, said he sent letters to the agents of all 4 on Monday and said he'd continue negotiations when the team got home.
He really said he'll continue negotiations with 3 except Nelson. He said Nelson has another year on his contract, and if I sign him, I have 20 more guys on this football team with a year contract, and I can't do that. I'll have to stop the whole season and sign 22 more guys.
Wilson to Hassan Jones. And a flag at the end of the play. Reggie Phillips with the tackle and perhaps the infraction.
David Tate coming across there.
David Tate.
So many times you'll see this happen with a young player that hasn't had an opportunity to play. He gets a chance, he gets beat, he sees a guy goes down, he gives him a shot, he gets the flag. He drew the attention, but it's the wrong kind.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit, number 49 defense, first down.
To see what Wilson is looking at. That's not a very friendly position to play. It's got a lot of glamour to it. He sits inside, has his eyes and his mind set up that he's going to get it to Hassan Jones. He breaks outside. Now there's the missed tackle. And then there you're going to see number 49 come in there, Tate, and spear Hassan Jones.
Reggie Phillips made the initial shirt tail tackle. And it's a first down inside the 30-yard line. Wilson with a little pressure. DJ Dozier to the 10-yard line. And that's not a sight you want to see. Left thigh.
This is the delayed round. This is the very end of it. You're going to see Dozier. Knows he's fixing to get hit. Comes across, gets down low. Now he just kind of gets down inside. There's the hit. Gosh, Vern, his body looked like a spaghetti right there. I can't really tell how he got hurt. But all right, now let's look at it again. Down inside.
That was Lorenzo Lynch, who was the last man to make contact with DJ Dozier.
Looks like they got his leg and then twisted it up at the very end. He's got got to be concerned because he's got his Darren Nelson's, he's holding out. We've talked about him, enough about him. He's not here. Now we got Dozier. This is the young man they're counting on. This is the guy they think can give them the running power they need. And not only that, but catch the football. He's very explosive. So he's in camp. He's doing well. He's their starter.
And they've called to the sideline. Again, the player who is down is DJ Dozier. Well, we mentioned as they continue to work on DJ Dozier that this stadium was built in 1955. Ullevi Stadium, which stands for the Viking god of sport. In Ingemar Johansson's last appearance at Ullevi, he knocked out Dick Richardson on June 17th, 1962. It was in the 8th round, and he regained the European heavyweight title.
I don't think he'll get up from that. I don't think he's going to get up. He's trying very hard. What courage!
And he did not get up. Ingemar Johansson tuned her in lightning, and there's Ingemar on the left and R.F. Cross on the right.
Vern, that was a big fight, but I guess the fight everybody remembers Ingemar was in 1959 when he went into the United States and he knocked out Floyd Patterson to win the heavyweight championship. It had to be one of the highlights of your career.
Yeah, that was a nice time.
Nice time. Well, tell us what happened when you came home. There were 35,000 fans in this stadium to greet you when they brought you in with a helicopter. How did you respond to that?
Well, it was very nice to see that the people liked it so much, and I was pretty happy when I landed here on the field.
Well, fight fans haven't seen you for a long time. What are you doing these days?
I have a nice life.
You have a nice life, and you look great, and it's good to see you.
Play tennis and play golf, and that's all.
All right, Ingemar, thanks for being with us. Vern?
All right, thank you. And sad news out of the field as DJ Dozier is going to be assisted onto the stretcher by that Minnesota training staff.
So you hate to see this. You know, Dozier came with the Vikings last year, and right up to the strike, this kid was playing outstanding. I mean, they really were thrilled with him as their #1 draft choice. And of course, after the strike, the injuries, and just didn't come around, just didn't have the kind of year they really had hoped in, but they blamed a lot of it just on the strike. You can see just from the fans who this is the first injury they've seen in a professional football game, and so the concern on their faces, of course, when they saw the stretcher brought out was, my God, what's happened? You know, they might think something extremely drastic other than what is apparent right here. We've got a leg injury to DJ Dozier.
And Jerry Burns looking on the sidelines, the 61-year-old head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Let's go back one more time to the end of that completed pass from Wade Wilson to DJ Dozier. It was Lorenzo Lynch who made the last contact. I'm not sure if that was the contact that caused the injury, but it looked like it might have been.
Well, the fans can see this. I'm only speculating. I don't even think it's fair for me to speculate. I cannot tell which leg it is or anything. He did grab his left leg. It's underneath him right now, and I just can't tell. It's obvious this young man's in a lot of pain, but we'll just wait and get a report. And the fans, of course, are responding and giving him a nice round of applause, but we'll just have to wait and see.
We'll get word from the Viking public relations staff as quickly as they've diagnosed the injury and pass it on to you. DJ Dozier out of the ball game for the Minnesota Vikings after catching the pass from Wade Wilson.
Now, Vern, we might have an opportunity now to get a good look at Gerald Harris. He's in the ball game at halfback. This is the young man they want to look at, and of course, with Dozier leaving the field on the stretcher now, Harris is in the game, and he's the kid that they're excited about. So let's see what they do now. Get the ball to him, let him run with it, let him catch it.
Vikings are going to be content to let the third quarter expire, and they will have their first down at the other end of the field. That's the end of the third quarter with our score, 21-21. We now pause for a word from your local station.
League is sponsored by Coors, the original draft beer in bottles and cans. Coors, the original. Chrysler Plymouth, we're working together to be the best. And by STP, makers of STP oil treatment. STP is the edge.
Vikings 1st and 10. It is not 1st and goal. And Darrell Harris, the free agent from Arizona State, fights his way down to the 5-yard line. Well, the injury to Dozier still being diagnosed. And isn't it fascinating, I guess, is perhaps a proper word, of how circumstances can change. Terry, we were talking about the Darren Nelson holdout, and he is under contract. He wants to renegotiate. Gary Zimmerman, Doug Martin, and Kirk Loudermilk are free agents. And certainly Nelson's circumstance might have been altered at the end of the last quarter. We just don't know yet. 2nd down and 5. I'm sure Darren Nelson is watching this game.
And he won't like what I'm going to say.
All right, say it.
But if you've got a 1-year contract, you better get in camp. Now, these other 3 gentlemen, we're talking about Martin, Loudermilk, and Zimmerman, they don't have a contract. They can hold out. That's fine. I don't begrudge them at all for trying to get the money they think they deserve. But if you have a contract, in my thinking, I'm an old American. I got simple values and simple way of life. But if I sign a contract with you for 2 years, I'm going to fulfill mine. You fulfill yours. I don't care if you rush for 10,000 yards. You got a year left. You get in there. You have another good year. You'll get your money.
If I was a preacher, I'd say amen.
Amen. I'll say it for me.
Wilson drills it. Contact in the end zone. Touchdown. Reginald Ward, a free agent out of Notre Dame. That is his 2nd touchdown in as many weeks. He caught one at the end of the game to tie it up last week from Rich Gannon. Number 28, Reginald Ward.
In the slot goes. Notice that the defensive back covering him is sitting to his inside. Number 98 inside as a linebacker, breaks outside. That's no match right there. That's a touchdown. That's Greg Clark covering him. That's a mismatch. Great call and a fine job by Wilson.
Wilson and Kramer having a heck of a battle as they each try and earn the starting spot. Now Barry Belli, the free agent from Fresno State, is on to try the extra point. It's good. Reginald Ward's catch has put the Minnesota Vikings back on top early in the final quarter. The NFL has come to Gothenburg, Sweden, and a heck of a ball game here in preseason on a Saturday afternoon in the States, a Saturday evening in Scandinavia. 28-21, the Vikings have taken the lead. 13:33 to go. That was a 72-yard drive. 6 plays, Wilson to Ward for the touchdown. Barry Belli will kick it deep to either Lemuel Stinson or that man, Eric Starr. Stinson. And he's back on the 35-yard line. Mentioned back in the first half that one of the great place kickers in American football, Jan Stenerud, is here in Gothenburg. And he's also with Irv Cross.
Vern, great indeed. 19 years in the National Football League. You spent the last few years with the Vikings, but I see you're still wearing a Kansas City Chiefs shirt.
I've been in Europe a long time. 3.5 weeks was the only shirt I had left. But I'm proud to wear this one.
Jan, you're in here in the public address booth working with the announcers. Just what are you doing to try to coordinate things in here?
Well, I'm trying to help as much as I can. But Arne Thorén is a very famous Swedish announcer and also a politician. He's a general counsel in New York for the Sweden. Trying to help him explain what's going on the field as much as we can, and so far it's going fine.
So far it's going fine. We'll come back and listen to one of the calls down here to find out what's really going on in the PA booth. Is that all right?
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Okay.
Sure.
You know, Norway has some great athletes. Of course, Stenerud is one of them. But another one that a lot of fans in the United States know about is a gentleman who migrated to South Bend, Indiana, Newt Rockne. Vern?
He's from Voss, Norway, Irv. That's right. Tell you one more. Jim Harbaugh is into the lineup now. 8 of 11 in 87 for 62 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions last year. The #1 draft choice out of Michigan. And he completed his first pass across midfield. It's 1st and 10. They fake the pitch. Muster tries to counter to the left side. In fact, is wrapped up back at the 48-yard line. Jan Stenerud reminds me, of course, we've talked about the first game in Sweden and so forth. There's a young man named Ove Johansson who was from Gothenburg and came to Dallas to try his hand as a soccer player, wound up as a field goal kicker at Abilene Christian University. To this day, he holds the record for the longest field goal in football, 69 yards, 1977. He kicked it against East Texas State.
And to make that story even better, early in the day, Tony Franklin at A&M had set 2 world records, if you will, NCAA records for field goals, 64
and 65 against Baylor, kicking for A&M.
Thought he had it made.
Here's Harbaugh swinging out to the right. And about an hour after Franklin kicked those 2, 64 and 65, Johansson kicked one of 69 yards. And the man who centered the ball on that world record field goal is our own Lance Barrow.
One of the all-time,
our associate director.
Hey, absolutely. One of the all-time great deep snappers in college football.
I've always thought that about him. In the meantime, Harbaugh is on. 3rd and 14. Jim Harbaugh, the third of the Bear quarterbacks, and we've got 11 to go in the ball game. Out of the shotgun. Larry Rubens is in at center now. Now, Jerry Seaman is going to tell us what happened.
False start prior to the snap. Illegal snap. Number 51 offense. Still 3rd down.
Now, let's listen to how Jan Stenerud is going to explain it to the PA announcer in Swedish.
Okay. The Bears number 52. Larry Rubens, illegal snap of the center. Okay, 3rd down.
Well, I got that.
19.
I understood that. Harbaugh on 3rd and 19 goes right side. Intended for Eric Starr, incomplete. As Starr was hit by John Harris.
You think the Swedish folks are having a hard time understanding Jan's English?
No, I know what's happening. He's whispering it to the PA announcer who understands English, and he's then translating it into Swedish.
I see. I was ready for some real Swedish translation there.
Stick around. 10:44 to go in the ball game. And on the punt, Brian Wagner. Jeff Jenkins, number 17, is the deep man for the Vikings. Lets it go, touchback. So Minnesota will get it back. They have held the Chicago Bears, who showed some signs of life under Harbaugh, but the drive stalls. And with 10:36 remaining, Minnesota takes over at its own 20-yard line. Unity Stadium, Gothenburg, the NFL on CBS.
Some people are so silly. Ouch. They make this big deal about Kellogg's Frosted Flakes being just for kids. Well, look at me. I'm an adult. I eat them. Heck, I love them. Frosted Flakes just for kids? Come on. Like we adults have to go sneaking around. Like we can't enjoy these sweet, crunchy flakes just as much as kids.
Daddy, are you eating our Frosted Flakes again?
Oops. There now. You can't deny it. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Who gives you the Horizon America? Best value in its class from America or Japan. And $300 cash back?
Ooh, Plymouth, that's who.
Introducing America's Winners Clearance at your Plymouth dealer.
The product, the usage, the vehicles, the testing grounds, the results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
Like the fins on a 57 and a T-bird on the wing. Like stacks of wax playing classic tracks. Shoo out, and shing-a-ling. I'm an American original. I drink Coors Draft in a can.
Win an original 57 Chevy, Ford, T-Bird, and more in the Coors Original Sweepstakes. Plus, get great deals on classic rock and roll cassettes. Just look for the Coors Original Sweepstakes display.
Wednesday.
case of temporary blindness leads Jake on a murderous masquerade. Jake and the Fat Man.
It's creeping up on 20 minutes till 10 in the evening at Gothenburg, Sweden tonight. A crowd estimated to be in excess of 40,000 on hand for the first NFL game ever played on the continent of Europe. 28-21. It was tied 14-all at the half, and Jerry Burns' team has scored twice here in the second half to take a lead of 28-21 with 10:36 to go. Rich Gannon is in at quarterback now, the third quarterback used for the Vikings. Darrell Harris comes right. Harris in place of DJ Dozier and fights his way out to the 28-yard line. Rich Gannon in his second season from Delaware. 6'3", 197-pounder, and apparently quite an athlete.
Well, the thing about Gannon is he has the strong arm, and he's fast. This guy runs about a 4.5 40, and Burns, Coach Jerry Burns of the Vikings said the one thing that we've noticed he's stopped doing is when he gets loose, he won't run. He's trying to become an NFL quarterback in his second year. We want him to run. He's exciting run. He puts a lot of pressure on a defense.
Second down and 1. Pitch to Harris. Wilson leading the way, and Darrell Harris fights near the 30-yard line.
At least we're seeing him feature Harris, which is good. We want to see him run with the football, and I want to see this Gannon guy throw the football. You know, there, look at these two guys. They want to see him throw it too. Evidently, Tommy on your left, Wilson on your right. Both played well. Controversy keeps on for another week, but Gannon's in there now, and I like to see him crank it. I like to see him throw it down the field.
That was Tim Irwin on the right, who is not playing tonight because he suffered cracked ribs. So Irwin got a night off. Gannon has two wide receivers to the right side on first down and 10. Looks deep, fires short. Out to the 36. James Brim, who was one of the stars of the replacement squad a year ago. Second-year man from Wake Forest makes the tackle. Dante Jones, the middle linebacker, made the stop for the Vikings. By the way, the word from the Minnesota locker room on DJ Dozier is a hip injury. That's all they're telling us right now. They don't know how serious it is. Obviously, he'll not be back in the game, but it is a hip injury. Could be a hip pointer, but we don't know.
Well, for those out there that have ever had a hip pointer, let me say right now, it is one of the most painful injuries that you can possibly have. If that's what he has, I mean, I can understand the pain. I can understand wrapping his legs up and taking him off on a stretcher. You can't walk.
Gannon back. Almost picked off and then dropped. Lemuel Stinson, the 6th-round draft choice out of Texas Tech, will relive that until about 4 o'clock in the morning as he tries to go to sleep tonight.
Evidently, the thing that Stinson told us, the thing I had to work on this week was last week. I gave my coverage away, and I wanted to work on giving him one look and then coming out and giving the cornerback something else. Evidently, he did a good job of it because he makes a fine play. As you can see, he's trailing his man. There it is. The ball's in his hands. And every rookie's dream is to make an interception in a preseason game because, man, that gets the coach's attention. He says, hey, looky here. Look what I did. I got these great hands. I'm going to make it.
3rd and 3. Tony Trula, free agent from Livingston College, around the right side, and that'll move the chains. .8:02 remaining in the ball game. There's a good view of the side stands at Ulevy Stadium.
Get an idea just from the size of this stadium, just how wide a soccer field is. Because soccer field comes up to about 15 feet from this track, and then you go in about another 15 yards, and there's our football field. Nice clapping, huh? They don't give it the old, yeah, all right. They give it, everybody is unison. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, there's some Viking fans. Look, they can see themselves on diamond vision in the corner. A momentary timeout called by the officials. Now we're set to go again. 1st and 10 on the 45, 28-21 Minnesota. Gannon. Flags are down. Gannon is as well at the 50-yard line. Ralph Jarvis, number 69, made the tackle. Jim Althoff is in defensively. Holding, Vikings.
Well, with all these young people in there, you really would expect more penalties than what we've actually had, but I think this young line's done a pretty good job of not getting the penalties and of protecting their quarterbacks.
Well, they got Randy Rasmussen in at center. Here's the mark-off, and we'll find out who was guilty of it.
Holding number 69 offense, still first down.
That is Todd Kalis, the 4th-round draft choice out of Arizona State. Kalis, who's been working both at guard and tackle last week or so.
This guy's a fascinating story. He's a what, 4th-round draft choice,
right.
5th-round draft choice out of Arizona State. He's ambidextrous. Right-handed, left-handed, plays golf left-handed. Does everything else right-handed.
Gannon back. Now he'll run for a little bit. And he's down at the 42-yard line.
Go back to this Kalis again. He throws right hand, and his grandmother actually was a left-handed as a child writing, and his mother went to his grandmother went to his mother and said, I don't want him writing left-handed. So that, hey, here's our guy. He's still going. Now he's got a little tape on his forehead. Notice that, Vern. Must be getting a little battered up there.
This guy's getting more airtime on CBS than Brent Musburger. 41-yard line. 2nd and 14.
You've been wanting to say that.
Gannon, deep left. Overthrown. Brad Beckman, the tight end.
That's that same deep corner route that was run earlier by Steve Jordan when Kramer hit him. Big bow out. I love that route. When it's Pittsburgh, we'd get old Cunningham down on the corner and get Stallworth, run everybody off, and then we'd throw it down there and hang that baby out.
Now the rhythmic clapping begins again. You know what I do miss about the stands tonight? And the wave has started on the far side.
Yeah, but it dies when it gets to the end. Watch this. Poof, there it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, now it picks up again.
Yep, they're going to try it right underneath us. There's a moment there when it goes to the end zone and not much happens. Here's Gannon. Incomplete. Greg Richardson, the intended receiver. It'll be 4th down.
One of the things a quarterback, if you give a quarterback a lot of time, here's what he'll do. First guy's covered. It's covered. Now I'm looking right. Now I'm looking left. Now I'm picking up my guy. And now I'm throwing the football. A lot of times when you're competing for a starting job, or if you're a 3rd stringer, you'll force a football in there like that because you say, what the heck, I'm not going to get a play during the season. Go ahead and take a chance. Gamble.
Craig Salmon is on to punt now, another free agent. Lou Barnes waits for it, lets it bounce. And it will come to rest inside the 20-yard line. That's a 40-yard punt for Craig Salmon. Nothing on the return. Chicago gets it back, and they trail by 7. We have 6 minutes and 19 seconds remaining. From Gothenburg, Sweden, the Vikings up 28-21 into Gothenburg.
That's American football for you right there. You summed it up well.
I want to see you make one of those seldom witnessed flying tackles. Hand off, left side. Brad Muster makes the carry. Joel Porter is in, and the umbrellas are out. Jim Harbaugh in a quarterback for the Bears. 28-21, 5:55 to go. 2nd down and 8. Porter comes left. On 2nd down and 8. Harbaugh flips it out. Anthony Mosley, 204-pounder who's only 5'9", out of Fresno State. Brad Edwards, number 27, with the stop, but a 19-yard gain on the pass play. And the substitution now defensively for Minnesota.
You can see Walker Lee actually turn around getting the signals, coming in with a prevent. One of the things you look for even in preseason games, especially with your third-string quarterbacks, is poised under fire. And that time, I was impressed with Harbaugh. A lot of heat on him. He kept his mind, kept the presence, got out, got the ball out to Mosley. Mosley did a nice job of getting the first down.
1st and 10, Bears. They trail by 7.
Blitz.
Harbaugh goes deep against man coverage, left side, right in the hands. Glenn Kozlowski ran right under it. A 39-yard gain, perfectly placed over Reggie Rutland.
Darrell Fullington, number 29, strong safety, will come from the outside and blitz. Right of your screen, see him coming in. Harbaugh sees it right off the bat. He knew he was blitzing. He knew exactly where he was going, and Kozlowski, as you can say, hey, we said earlier this guy doesn't have any speed, but he beat his man. Excellent throw, excellent catch.
First down for Chicago at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 with 4:08 remaining in the ball game. Draw play. Anthony Mosley tried to get up over Walker Lee Ashley and couldn't make it. Mosley from Fresno State. He was a part of the replacement squad a year ago for the Bears. And Harbaugh with a chance to really make an impression here if he can lead his team to a tying touchdown. As we reach the 3:40 mark, 2nd down and 6. Brad Muster. Ryan Habib, number 91, made the initial contact.
I'd like to see him get the ball to Muster. We've seen him inside. I want to see this big guy catch a football and get it, you know, some of those option routes or something.
Terry, is there a chance, you know, this has been a Peyton-oriented offense for so many years. If Muster really comes through for them and becomes a starter, might they reorient the offense toward him a little bit?
Well, the reason Suey was so valuable to the Bears in the past when in the Peyton area was the fact that he's an outstanding blocker. Hey, Muster is not an outstanding blocker, and that's the thing they're concerned about. But he gives them that dimension I mentioned earlier of being able to catch the ball and also able to run it. There he's running off left tackle, gets a yard. But it can change your offense up. I played in an offense that had 2 excellent running backs. One of them's a Hall of Famer, and Franco Harris. And the dimension of our trapping game right and left with either one of them really puts a lot of pressure on a defense. If you've got 2 backs that can get the job done, especially if they can catch it. This guy evidently has all those tools, and I think the Bears will change it up if he starts.
9 carries for 11 yards now for number 1 draft choice.
That's not very impressive, but they've done nothing but just lead block right up the middle, all that mess.
4th down, they'll go for it. Trailing by 7 as we near the 2-minute mark. And I don't know as Muster fights for the yardage near the 11. Somebody lost a helmet. John Addix. Muster did not pick it up. Minnesota holds on 4th down. And the Viking offense comes on the field as the Bears drive stalls at the 11-yard line. As the Bear defense comes back on the field now and Brad Muster heads to the sidelines, we haven't mentioned William Perry tonight. William, of course, is in a clinic in the Chicago area for an eating disorders. Mike Ditka said yesterday he expects him back when William wants to come back, but Mike is of the opinion that William will be back in time for the season.
Yeah,
and right. Interestingly, he thinks he's going to use him at defensive end when he returns.
When he comes back, he said they put him at defensive left end, and the reason for it, he said Hampton at this point in his career is suited better for tackle. Normally, it's the other way around. Normally, a tackle is suited for defensive end because there's not as much, you know, you're away from all those big bodies in there. And putting Perry at left end, Ditka said, to justify it, I put him out there. I want to see these offensive tackles blocking. He said, I don't think they can do it.
2-minute warning. 28-21, Minnesota leads, and they have the ball from Gothenburg, Sweden. These are no longer intermittent. They're coming down heavily here at Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg. And look, the stands are still full.
Well, I'm kind of amazed. I have to comment to myself, don't they know to leave? Because if we're in the States, this place would be empty right now. Everybody trying to beat the crowd, but maybe they're saying to themselves, we're never going to see another one of these games. If we are, it'll be a while, so I'm going to stay around for the action.
2nd down and 8. Rich Gannon gets the 1st down. And I think he managed to stay inbound. Yes, he did. So the clock continues to run as the Vikings hold on to this lead. Chicago with 2 timeouts left and Minnesota with 3. Sports world was saddened in the last week with the deaths of 2 outstanding sports figures. Just yesterday, Edwin Bennett Williams died at the age of 68 after a long battle with cancer. He'd owned the Baltimore Orioles since 1979, and he was president of the Washington Redskins for 20 years. Edwin Bennett Williams dead at the age of 68. And last Monday, Alan the Horse Amici died at the age of 55, a member of the NFL Hall of Fame. It was at a 1958 championship game when he scored the winning touchdown in overtime that earned him a spot in everyone's memory. Alan the Horse Amici dead at the age of 1955 last Monday. Darrell Harris with the carry here. Maurice Douglas made the tackle.
The Harris kids look good, hasn't he? Got the opportunity. He got him in there. And I like what they've done. You know, we're at the end of this football game, but they've got him outside. They've tried his speed, checked out his speed on the sweep. They'd run him up off tackle, check out his toughness. They put him on kickoff return to see how elusive he is with those great visions that, you know, Burns told us he had. So we've seen all of what this kid can do, and I think he's done extremely well.
Second down play. Darrell Harris again with the carry. And Dante Jones with the tackle. Coming up tonight on CBS, it all starts with 60 Minutes. Then it's Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury, followed by a CBS Sunday movie. News at 11, starring Martin Sheen. That's all coming up tonight here on CBS. Time has been called as this young man and his dad are not about to go home. Nor are many of the others. 40,000 plus on hand at Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg. This game being played, of course, on natural grass. Every soccer stadium in Europe features that. Some problems with Wrigley Field back home in Chicago. They're not for sure they're going to be able to play their last preseason game against the Raiders in Chicago because of problems with the just installed prescription athletic turf. That one seems to be in jeopardy, and there may be a problem with the home opener on September 4th against Miami. He's still at it.
Hey, I'm telling you, the guy, he's for a record. Look at this.
I'm proud of him. It's third for Soket och 1 meter. 3rd and 1 for those of you not of Scandinavian heritage.
Kind of question you on that one there, bub.
Now I need to see if he got the first down the only Swedish. True story, we'll let it go. The only Swedish I remember from my childhood was one phrase.
Can you say it?
Yes.
Let's have it.
Jag är en snällpojk.
You've got to be kidding. Is that what?
No, sir.
Oh.
And it hasn't been applicable since I was 13. It means I am a good boy. First down.
Well, I don't have any Swedish to pass on to my lovely wife and daughter in Texas. Wish I did.
Be home tomorrow.
Be home tomorrow night. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed being here. I never dreamed I'd be in Sweden. And these wonderful people, beautiful people too, treated us so well. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I think these two teams have enjoyed themselves. We spent so much time with them, and they have said nothing but nice things, and we've been treated like royalty here, and it's just been a real experience for this old boy.
Long way from Grand Cane to Göteborg.
It's a long way, Vern. It's a long way.
Final 19 seconds of the first National Football League game played on the continent. And the Minnesota Vikings will win this one and even their season record at 1-1. The Chicago Bears fall to 1-1. Both teams travel back home tomorrow. And I think everybody here can judge this first NFL game on the continent a success. Greg Coleman, Matsui. Now the competition is over. Maybe we'll play again in Sweden some other time. Our final score, 28.